What's good? Oh man.
Mario Kart is more successful than it has any right to be. More successful than regular Mario games, in fact. On the Switch, Super Mario Odyssey has sold 29 million copies, but Mario Kart 8 has sold 67 million. And it's the same on almost every Nintendo console. Mario Kart games nearly always sell far more copies than actual Mario platformers. So then, what's the secret to Mario Kart's huge success? Well, today I want to travel back to the beginning of the series and work our way forward. We're going to look at how every single Mario Kart game was created, to understand how these kart racing titles became so darn successful. Here's how Mario Kart became Nintendo's biggest franchise. Part 1. Super Mario Kart. There's three people who are really important to know about when you talk about Mario Kart's history. The first is Shigeru Miyamoto, the man who created Mario and Zelda. And around 1990, he made a request to two other people within Nintendo, Hideki Kono and Tadashi Sugiyama. Both Kono and Sugiyama were game designers at the company who'd worked there for about 5 or 6 years at the time. And Shigeru Miyamoto came to the duo with a suggestion. What if they made a 2-player racing game, similar to F-Zero? F-Zero was Nintendo's first big racing game, and it was all about speed, about going as fast as you possibly could. It was also a single-player game, and so if Hideki Kono...
But that's crazy. And you forgot their their first racing game. They just abandoned that shit. They could have done both. You know what I'm saying? Like, now could have did F-Zero and Mario Kart, or better yet, like I said, add Captain Falcon, Mario Kart. Literally, just add him in the fucking game.
Kono and Tadashi Sugiyama were going to make a 2-player version of it. They'd have to make some big changes. Here's a map of one of F-Zero's race courses, and now I'm going to lay a map of a Mario Kart race course on top of it.
Why?
Just look at the massive difference in size here. That size difference is because of technical limitations. F-Zero pulls off its huge courses by switching between lots of smaller pieces of track as you drive. But because Mario Kart would have to render 2 different points of view, one for each player, it couldn't switch between maps on the fly. Instead, the game's designers had to cram in an entire race course into a 1024 by 1024 pixel box. So, Because the courses would be smaller, Kono and Sugiyama slowed down the speed of the vehicles,
It makes sense.
in the process changing them from race cars to go-karts. And because each of the game's courses were laid out on the exact same square, the racetracks would twist and turn around themselves, again making them feel less like racing courses and more like go-kart tracks. And so it was decided, Kono and Sugiyama's racing game would be a go-kart racing game. Not long after that, Hideki Kono asked the game's producer, Shigeru Miyamoto, to let the whole team spend a day at a local amusement park to try driving real go-karts. Miyamoto replied, "Why, can't you tell what they're like without driving them?"
No!
But he eventually gave in, and the game's development team got to spend the day at a local park called Nemu no Sato, where they tried driving real go-karts. While they were there, the game's sound designer, Taro Bando, even recorded the sounds of the karts, which you can hear in the final game. After returning to HQ, some members of the game's development team also tried building a big remote-controlled go-kart, which they drove around Nintendo's offices. Unfortunately, when they passed the remote control to Super Mario Kart's main programmer, Masato Kimura, he crashed the go-kart into a wall 5 seconds after trying it.
That's
and
crazy.
The kart was, in the words of Hideki Kono,
making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't spread over every egg. Why won't you die? Can't hurt me, Jack. Nanomachine, son. Fuck with this senator. Die! Die, you piece of shit!
Bruh. Thank God I turned my volume down. That would have been loud as fuck. I imagine that's probably gonna jump scare somebody.
3 to 4 months of development, the characters driving the go-karts were completely generic. Early on, we had young men in overalls driving the karts, said Kono. We put helmets on them and used different colours to differentiate between them, added Tadashi Sugiyama. But looking from behind, we couldn't tell who was who. The pair began to wonder, what if there was a character who was recognisable even from behind? They landed on Mario. So, after about a year of development, and with only 8 staff members, Super Mario Kart was finally complete. The game proved to be wildly successful, selling almost 9 million copies and becoming the 4th best-selling game on the SNES. But Super Mario Kart was just the beginning. Part 2, Mario Kart 64. With Super Mario Kart a big success, and with Nintendo working on their next big console, the Nintendo 64, it only made sense to start work on a new Mario Kart game. This new game's development team was largely the same as before, with Shigeru Miyamoto producing and Hideki Kono directing. Tadashi Sugiyama also worked on the game, but this time focusing on the graphics. The initial plan was for this new Mario Kart game to launch alongside the Nintendo 64, just like Super Mario 64. But near the end of development, Shigeru Miyamoto stole a bunch of the developers from the Mario Kart team to help him get Mario 64 done on time. Now, the Nintendo 64's biggest strength as a console was 3D gaming. The SNES wasn't designed with 3D graphics in mind, so the original Super Mario Kart used tricks to simulate 3D visuals. But the Nintendo 64 was different. It was designed squarely with 3D graphics in mind, which meant that this new Mario Kart would have a whole new dimension to play with. But that also caused a whole new dimension of difficulty for the development staff.
Makes sense.
The biggest difference from the Super NES game was the 3D graphics, said Hideki Kono. At the time, I didn't know much about 3D imaging, so I had a very hard time. But to make matters even harder, producer Shigeru Miyamoto gave the developers a really challenging goal: 4-player races. Shigeru Miyamoto said in an interview, "The N64 CPU is quite fast, and doing those kinds of calculations is one of its specialities. But even so, at first the programmers said, this is impossible." And to pull off those 4-player races, the development staff had to make use of some really clever tricks. The biggest of all being the fact that none of the karts or drivers in the game are really 3D at all. Instead, the characters were modelled in 3D and then rendered into flat images at a bunch of different angles. Then, in the game, you display one of these flat images on screen and the character looks like they're 3D. If the character turns left, you just switch out the image on screen with the image you have of them facing left. This technique is called billboarding, and without it, Mario Kart 64 could never have supported 4-player races. The Nintendo 64 just couldn't have displayed that many complicated 3D characters on screen at once. Really, Mario Kart 64 isn't a dramatically different game from its predecessor, which is something the team worried about. We really did struggle to find ways to differentiate this game from Super Mario Kart.
It looks pretty different, bro,
said Tadashi Sugiyama. The biggest difference this time round was the 3D courses. In the original Super Mario Kart,
that's kind of different.
The courses were just flat images, tilted at an angle to give the illusion of 3D. The game's lead programmer, Masato Kimura, described it as like everyone is racing on a flat sheet of paper. But with this game, Nintendo's designers were able to create fully 3D courses with troughs and valleys and hills for the player to ride around. This created much more difficult physics calculations for the programmers, but as a matter of pride, they refused to deny any requests from the designers when it came to complicated course layouts. These intricate racetracks were one of the key ways the game's developers hoped Mario Kart 64 would stand out from its predecessor. Near the end of development, though, a disaster happened. The computer which stored all of the rendered images of the characters crashed, and according to programmer Tomoaki Kurome, all of our work got erased. Of course, we had backups, but not everything could be recovered. We had no choice but to remake everything from scratch. So, in the end, about 80% of the character models ended up getting made twice. But I think the remakes turned out better than the originals, so I guess it was a blessing in disguise. So, despite this setback, and despite Shigeru Miyamoto borrowing a lot of the game's developers so he could get Mario 64 done on schedule, Mario Kart 64 was finished only 6 months
How many times has it been that
Nintendo
companies fucking, like, they have a computer with the shit and it just crashes?
It ended up becoming one of the best-selling games on the console, second only to Super Mario 64. Which finally settled it. Super Mario Kart was no fluke. Mario Kart as a series was wildly popular with fans, which meant it was only onwards from here. Part 3. Mario Kart Super Circuit.
Nah, fuck that game. Fuck that game.
5 years passed.
Fuck that game.
That's right. Despite Mario Kart 64's huge success,
that game.
Nintendo didn't release another Mario Kart game for 5 years.
Fuck that game.
But then, in 2001, Nintendo launched 2 brand new game consoles, the Game Boy Advance and the GameCube. And so, Nintendo took on the ambitious challenge of developing a new Mario Kart game for each console. Nintendo's own developers began work on what would later become Mario Kart Double Dash for the GameCube. And for the other Mario Kart game, Nintendo decided to have an outside studio take on development. They picked Intelligent Systems, the developer behind Fire Emblem, WarioWare, and Paper Mario. Nintendo had been working closely with Intelligent Systems for many years. At the time, Intelligent Systems offices were even located inside Nintendo's headquarters. Now, the Game Boy Advance was not a console designed for 3D gaming. When they announced the console, Nintendo even said right off the bat that the GBA was designed with 2D games in mind. In its later years, some third-party developers did manage to get 3D graphics up and running, but complicated 3D graphics were practically impossible on the GBA at the time of Mario Kart Super Circuit's development. Instead, Intelligent Systems went with a pseudo-3D approach, similar to the original Super Mario Kart. That meant flat 2D courses tilted at an angle. In fact, Super Circuit's pseudo-3D engine had so much in common with the original Super Mario Karts that Intelligent Systems decided to include every racetrack from the original game as a bonus for players. And when the game was released alongside the Game Boy Advance, it proved an immediate hit, with sales eventually reaching almost 6 million units, making it the 4th best-selling game on the GBA, beating any other Mario game. But as Super Circuit was taking shape, a team inside Nintendo was beginning work on an even bigger and more ambitious Mario Kart game. Part 4: Mario Kart Double Dash.
Okay, this one I want to hear about.
The Game Boy Advance was not the only console Nintendo was developing in 2001. They had a brand new home console in the works too. It was to be far more powerful than Nintendo's previous console, and it would be called the GameCube. During E3 2001, Nintendo showed off a Mario Kart demo to the public. However, it was extremely bare bones and featured assets taken from other games. Behind the scenes, development had only just begun. And since the regular director, Hideki Kono, was busy at the time, a new director was brought in called Kiyoshi Mizuki. Now, Kiyoshi Mizuki had never worked on a Mario Kart game before, but he got stuck right in with perhaps the biggest game in the Mario Kart series so far. You see, thanks to the GameCube's processing power, Nintendo was able to finally implement fully 3D characters and karts, rather than the various pseudo-3D techniques that previous games had used. But the hardest problem for the game's director had nothing to do with the graphics. It was deciding on what unique new gameplay idea the game should feature. They needed to please hardcore Mario Kart fans while also attracting brand new players. Mizuki joked in an interview that he would often stay for an hour or so in the bathroom, stressing about these new gameplay features, and said that it was a very difficult task. Eventually, the idea was suggested of 2 players riding in a single go-kart. And right away, this fulfilled a lot of Mizuki's requirements. It would transform the game into more of a party game, letting players of all skill levels take part. If someone wasn't super great at controlling the kart, then they could focus on hitting other players with items instead. But not everyone on the team liked these 2-player karts. There were many heated discussions, as Kiyoshi Mizuki put it, and it wasn't clear up until the last minute whether these 2-player karts would even make it into the game. Another point that came up during development was multiplayer. By Double Dash's release in 2003, the internet was becoming more and more mainstream. In interviews with press leading up to the game's release, Nintendo staff were asked many times about whether Double Dash would allow players to compete against other players via the internet. The answer was no. Tadashi Sugiyama, who was at this point working as a producer, said, "One of the most asked questions is about the online feature. That kind of online feature was not included in this game, but may be something that we tackle in future Mario Kart games." The omission was more of a technical limitation than a conscious gameplay decision. According to Shinya Takahashi, who now leads all of Nintendo's game development, the Double Dash team didn't believe that internet infrastructure of the time could support the game's high-speed races or battles. He promised that in future, if internet speeds improved, they would revisit the idea of online Mario Kart.
And they did.
Instead, the development team introduced an alternative, LAN connection. By connecting multiple GameCubes together with LAN adapters, up to 8 players could compete in races and 16 players in battle mode. It's a pretty neat way to race against large numbers of people, but whether it fills the gap of online racing, I'll leave that up to you to decide. And so, in late 2003, Mario Kart Double Dash was released for the Nintendo GameCube. It was, at the time, the most unique Mario Kart game Nintendo had developed. It probably still is, in fact.
Yep, it still is.
Tadashi Sugiyama said in an interview, "We have been able to put everything we wanted into the game. We left some things out when we finished Mario Kart for the N64, but all these features are now included in Double Dash." But there was one major omission that came up time and time again in interviews online racing. So, for the next Mario Kart entry, this would be something that Nintendo's developers would face head on.
Yep, the GOAT.
Part 5. Mario Kart DS.
Let's go.
The series co-creator Hideki Kono had been preoccupied during Double Dash's development, and so had little impact on the title. But with Nintendo's next handheld console, the DS, in the works, it was time for a new Mario Kart game to enter development. And around this time, Hideki Kono returned to the reins as producer of 2 games. You see, Shigeru Miyamoto personally asked Kono to oversee both Mario Kart DS and also Nintendogs, with the 2 titles in development at Today is a Mario Kart DS day, and tomorrow is a Nintendogs day. But sometimes the director of Mario Kart DS would want to meet on a Nintendogs day. I'd have to wait until evening, and then, after I'd driven all the dogs out of my head, to sit down and talk. One of the main goals the team had this time round was playing with friends. Using the DS's wireless local connection feature, up to 8 people could race against each other. Plus, thanks to Download Play, only a single cartridge was needed for the whole group to join. Pretty neat. But right near the end of the game's development, Kono and his team decided to set themselves a huge challenge. They wanted to add online racing, which had been left out of Double Dash before. Hideki Kono, along with company president Satoru Iwata.
Okay, so to be fair, the online for DS was I don't know, bro. Yeah, they did it. It was kind of ass. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I mean, it was the best they had at the time. I think you could only play with you couldn't even play all the stages. I think there were certain stages you couldn't even play, which is that's kind of ass. But I don't know, internet was still getting better, so that's the Johns.
Iwata traveled to the US headquarters of Nintendo of America to see what the American staff thought of the idea. The response was so great that we soon began working on it in earnest, said Kono. It was all very last minute, with the team having to pare the online mode down to its most basic set of features. Only 4 racers,
We're going through a history lesson.
No sharing ghost data online. But, crucially, the team managed to get the online mode working for the game's late 2005 release date. This was the first online mode in a DS game, let alone the Mario Kart series.
I know that Wi-Fi was ass.
All of the team should have been very happy with how things turned out. Except, one person wasn't. President Iwata reminisced to Hideki Kono. "Kono-san, I remember how frustrated you looked. At a meeting, you had this completely unsatisfied look on your face. Having to cut all of those additional online features was extremely frustrating for Kono. He made up his mind that for their next Mario Kart game, all of his online mode dreams would become reality." Part 6. Mario Kart Wii. development on a new Mario Kart title for Nintendo's upcoming Wii console began in 2006, and while previous games had differentiated themselves with unique game mechanics, like Double Dash's dual rider system, for instance, producer Hideki Kono had a
low-key, if I manage to get that badge, you're going to be in line too, bro, I'm scared. Bro, I'm scared. I don't know, bro. Like, cause dead ass, whatchamacallit, even if I go in the, I bet you, even if I go in the morning, that shit's gonna be long as fuck. Even if I go in the morning, low key, I'm gonna have to create a John. What? That's what I'm saying, bro. Cause I live in the Bronx, bro. Like, God, like, low key, I don't know, bro. I gotta. I don't know how the fuck. I can't. I don't know, bro. I'm gonna have to like bring a suitcase or some shit, put that shit inside, cause someone might try to fucking steal that shit from me. I don't know. He said, I think I have to get my super duper early. Dead ass, bro. Like I might have to be like, wait the day before. Okay, it said day before. You gonna camp? You gonna camp like the olden days of gaming? How early is the question? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Because my grandparents are not gonna let me go out like a fucking 6 a.m. The earliest I could probably go is probably like 7 or 8, probably. If I tell them in advance. I'm gonna have to create a John. I don't know. The only way to let me get out early is like if I create a crazy ass John. Like if I say I'm going to school or some shit. Bro, you're 20? Bro! You think they don't understand that? Please. They wouldn't let me go. Literally, I got in trouble because I wanted to get a haircut at 8 p.m. And they were like, you gotta come back home. You gotta come back home. It's getting late. And as soon as I come back, they started fucking giving me a fucking long ass spiel talking about there was a shooting in that barbershop a few years ago. There was a shooting. That could have been you. I'm like, bro, that could have been me anyways. The fuck? Like, what are they waffling about? I'm gonna say it again, you're 20? Bro. I don't know. I tried. They don't fucking listen to me, bro. Anytime I try to go somewhere, it's always some fear mongering, bro. It's always some fucking fear mongering. I don't know if you're a grown ass man, bro. I mean, I still got the haircut. The time I wanted the haircut, I still got it. They let me do it, but they were still angry as fuck at me. They're like, this place is dangerous. This place is dangerous. You're still wet behind the ears. You don't understand. You don't understand what we're talking about. There was a shooting over there in that barbershop. That could have been you if you're not careful. Like, dog. And I understand because, back then the Bronx was like way fucking worse. So I get the sentiment, but it's like, dog, I'm 20 years old. I can't walk like 2 blocks or like fucking like 5 blocks to go fucking, I don't know, go to the fucking store or some shit. Unless I'm going to school. The only time I get to leave more than like fucking like 5 blocks is like when I'm going to fucking school. That's only it. Like, and every time the excuse is that like, oh, this is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're still wet behind the ears. This place is dangerous. Well, the only way I'm gonna learn is if you let me go out. I can't get. I'm still gonna be wet behind the ears if you don't let me go. Like, what the fuck? He says, so what is fucking. So what is a fucking shooting? Not my problem. My point is this, right? My point is that, like, they always say, like, oh, there's always crime happening and shit. I'm like, dog, I'm not gonna fucking go into the fetal position in my room because there's a small chance I may get shot. If I get shot, I'm cooked. That's just RNG. If I'm at the wrong place at the wrong time, I'm just cooked. That's just something I have to accept. I can't just sit in my fucking. I'm not just gonna sit in my fucking room because of the fear that I might get shot. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's fucking stupid. If I need to go to the store, I'm going to the fucking store. Now, obviously, like, yeah, I shouldn't go at like fucking like 10 p.m. or whatever, because that's when all the fucking wackos come out. But like, still, like, if I want to go somewhere at like fucking the broad daylight, in broad daylight, like, it's not gonna get any more safer than that, to be honest. You said you better come home before the streetlights come on. Literally that. That's literally what they say. This is literally what they say to me. Like, you gotta come home before the streetlights come on, unless I'm at school. School's the only exception. He said, Metallica, that's old. You should not be saying that. Even remember my grandmother saying that. I gotta go some crazy ass John for me to be out of work. But you better tell him you're sick. Go up the 4th to the 6th. Bro's really about to camp. Bro, really about to camp like the olden days of gaming. That's crazy. Bro about to get a tent. Bro about to get one of them old ass folding chairs with the little cup holder. That's crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to create a John. I gotta create a crazy ass John to let my grandparents to let me leave like super early in the morning. I don't know. Maybe I'll say like I have to do at school or some shit. They'll probably let me go. Either that or just tell them like I'm going to like fucking I don't know. I'll think of something. Most likely I'll just say I have to go to school for something and then they'll let me go. And then I'll just literally go to the GameStop. Cause I can literally walk to my GameStop. My nearest GameStop is like fucking like I don't know, like 7 blocks. I can easily just fucking walk that shit. Especially since now it's getting a little bit warmer. I could just take a little hike, go to that GameStop, probably be there in like 30 minutes. There was another one I could have. There was another GameStop, but I could have took the bus, but that shit closed down, which really sucks. But what can you do about that shit? Let me wash my hands. I don't know. But now I'm 21, bro. Like I'm old enough to drink. If I want to fucking leave the house and like go like a few blocks, I should be able to go a few blocks. I don't know. Crazy thing is, crazy thing is, I've already done that before. Like I really went to the GameStop when they weren't here. My grandparents like took a trip somewhere. I literally went to the GameStop, came back in one piece multiple times. Nothing bad happened. Now they're telling me like, oh, you're not ready yet. I'm like, bitch, I'm old enough to drink alcohol. Like, come on. I'm old enough to get drunk. I should be old enough to fucking just walk a few blocks at least. Come on, come the fuck on. Ads, all right. You're 21 though. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm 21 now. I'm 21. There's really no fucking excuse. You can't be like, oh well, no, you can't go. You can't go because you're not ready. I'm like, bitch, I'm old enough to get drunk. I'm old enough to fuck. I actually be old enough to fucking walk a few blocks. And thing is, I don't do anything. That's the thing. The thing is, right? You have all these hood rats and shit, right? Yeah, obviously I live in the Bronx. There's a bunch of hood rats and shit, and like fucking I don't know, like Bloods or some shit. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of fucking hoodlums. But the thing is, I don't even do anything. I'm never up to anything. I'm not hanging out with people because I don't got friends here, obviously, because I don't trust people. Because again, it's the Bronx. I don't fucking trust anybody really, unless like I've seen them like, depending on the environment, I don't really trust them. But yeah, it's like, bro, I am literally a good noodle. Like I say, I'm a good noodle. I literally don't do shit. I literally just do what I gotta do and I come back home. It's not like I'm out here just hanging out with some random ass chick or some shit. Like, nah. I literally just do what I got, do my business and come back home. But no, I don't know. I'll figure something out. He said I thought about waiting till release the second wave consoles, but I'm just like, nah, let me wait. Use it in stores since I didn't have the money at the time to pre-order. What'd you say? Wait until the release of the second wave. Like now, let me wait Everson Stewart. Hey man, I wish you look. I definitely can't camp here. Hell no. Hell no. Especially with the crackheads and shit. I'm definitely not camping. I'd rather wait. If I can't get it, I can't get it. I have 2 spots I could go to. I have a Best Buy that probably is gonna have a lot. That shit is probably gonna be packed. But obviously, I don't know. I'll go to the GameStop first. If the GameStop don't got it, I'll gotta go to Best Buy. That was like a couple bus trips, but I'll make it. Oh, that day's gonna be crazy.
His sleeve this time round. He wanted to use the Nintendo Wii's motion controls to make this game approachable.
Live in a small town, you should be fine. Yeah, yeah. If you live in a small town, you know what I'm saying? You'll probably be chill, but all I have is a Walmart. God damn. Oh, bro, guys, a Walmart? God damn. But yeah, if you live in a small town, yeah, nothing's probably not gonna happen. You'll probably be fine. But here, fuck no. Got fucking druggies and fucking crackheads. Like, nah, bro. They be fucking weird as shit. Like 20 seconds behind? Why are you 20 seconds behind? What the fuck? Is your stream okay? Is my stream okay, guys? Am I delayed? Here, let me ask a dumbass question and see how fast everybody responds. I'm gonna ask a dumbass question. I want y'all to respond as fast as possible, alright? What color is the screen right now? Like, what do you see on screen? Okay, that wasn't that long. That was like 8 seconds. That's definitely you, Mocha. It's not that laggy. That was like 8 seconds. I counted. There's like an 8-second delay. Yeah, Mocha. That's Mocha's end. But how can I answer like after 8 seconds? I counted. Mocha, I said answer as fast as possible. You typed out a whole paragraph. Whatever. Yeah, it's not that. You're not 20 seconds delayed. What are you talking about? Talker answered mad fast. Well, that's probably because he only typed in 3 letters. He typed in a whole yapathon. But yeah, stream is fine. You're not that delayed. You're like 8 seconds. Or at least Mataka is. I don't know about you, but it's like 8 seconds delay, which is not too bad.
To those who'd never played a video game in their lives. He said in an interview, "When we made Mario Kart DS, my parents tried to play it together with their grandchild, but it was difficult for them to use the control."
Bro, I just counted. It was 8 seconds.
This is hard.
Oh, what are you yapping about? I literally counted 8 seconds. What are you yapping about? It seems far. 8 seconds is not far. 8? Yes. Yes. I asked the question, Metallica answered in like 8 seconds. And he typed in as fast. He only typed in as fast as possible. He just put BLU. Yeah, it's me. It's bugging out. Yeah, that's what I said. It's definitely you. For every stream. I don't know, bro. You got that middle of nowhere Wi-Fi. I don't know. Why I got captions on? Oh, I got captions on.
So, for Mario Kart Wii, Kono wanted to remove the need to use D-pads or analog sticks in favour of something that felt natural to almost everyone, using a steering wheel. So, in late 2006, Kono reached out to Nintendo's hardware development team with the suggestion of creating some kind of steering wheel peripheral for the Wii remote. Miyamoto was also on board with the idea, saying, "I kind of wanted to make a product that would come in a big box for a change." The hardware team developed numerous prototypes throughout 2007, This is one of the earliest Wii Wheel prototypes,
Oh,
where
wow.
the corners of the Wii Remote actually stick out a little. In later attempts, the whole remote was covered, but the wheel became less of a circle and more of a squashed rectangle. According to Kenichiro Ashida of the Product Development Division, we checked out some real go-kart wheels and saw that they're usually square steering wheels today, rather than round ones. However, eventually Ashida and his team came to the conclusion that a round wheel is what the everyday person is used to. And so, after a number of revisions, the final design of the Wii wheel was landed upon. The Mario Kart dev team felt so strongly that the wheel was an important part of Mario Kart Wii that they put it on the front of the game box. But there was another big innovation introduced in Mario Kart Wii, which also came from the mind of producer Hideki Kono. He said in an interview, "I love BMX bicycles and snowboarding.
Oh, so they put the bikes.
For the DS, we wanted to put in some elements of extreme sports, but it was difficult to achieve in a handheld game. That's why we decided to make it happen for the Wii." This
Mario
extreme
bike?
sports influence led to the introduction of half-pipes in many of the game's tracks, along with motorbikes. Previously, Miyamoto had vetoed the idea, saying he thought it would be strange to see Mario riding a bike.
Bro,
This
what?
time round, he gave his approval. The team even planned on calling the game Mario Kart X after extreme sports.
Oh,
Super Smash Bros. Developer
The
Masahiro
GOAT!
Sakurai beat them to the punch with Super Smash Bros. Brawl's Japanese title, Super Smash Bros.
Bros. X? Oh.
And then finally, there was the online mode. Born from Hideki Kono's frustration with the limited online options in Mario Kart DS, the team developed a whole range of online modes and features for Mario Kart Wii. Standard races could be played with a full 12 players from across the globe, and friends were able to drop into lobbies their friends were in. There were also time trial rankings and ghost data from players across the globe. Mario Kart Wii really embraced all of the online features at the team's disposal. Thanks to the Mario Kart channel on the Wii, you could even see if your friends were playing without the Mario Kart game disc in your console. Mario Kart Wii went on to sell a whopping 37 million copies, making it the second best-selling Wii game behind only Wii Sports. The team was able to take a couple-year break from Mario Kart after the game's 2008 release. But when it came time to develop the next Mario Kart entry, the game's developers would face an altogether different kind of problem to any they'd faced before. Part 7. Mario Kart 7. Development on a new Mario Kart entry for Nintendo's upcoming handheld, the 3DS, began in 2010. This time, Kosuke Yabuki, a game designer who worked on Mario Kart Wii, was promoted to director. And from the start, Yabuki knew he wanted to mix up the traditional Mario Kart gameplay. He modified Mario Kart Wii so that the karts could fly through the air. He also tried making them feel floaty and light, telling producer Hideki Kono, "Doesn't it look like they're underwater? Wouldn't it be fun to drive underwater?" And so, Yabuki led a tiny team of 8 developers to begin building a prototype for this new Mario Kart game. But while development was getting off to a good start, the team would soon run into a pretty huge problem. They had no more developers to work on the game.
Oh.
You see, at the same time, Nintendogs and Cats was also in early production.
Bro.
And of the two 3DS
Yo. What is with Nintendo's always taking all the damn employees? That's like the second time. God damn. Bro, it's like, yo. Yo, goddamn, bro. Nintendogs over here fucking selling, bro. Fuck Nintendogs. Bro, I'm trying to play Peak. Yo, let's go, Ricotta Cup. God damn. Like, bro, this is like the second time Nintendogs out here taking all the damn employees. bro. Why do you need all the employees, bro? Like, what? You're gonna fucking what? You need all the employees to work on the fucking hair follicles of a fucking dog or some shit? Like, goddamn! Like, what the fuck you need all the employees for, bro? Like, oh yeah, we need all the employees on deck, bro. We need to make the fuzziest dog possible. So we need everybody individually. We need all the artists to be fucking working on making the dog look as fluffy as possible. You know what I'm saying? I need the food in the dog bowl to look like perfect, like 100% authentic dog food. Like, holy shit! No one gives a fuck about Nintendogs. No one gives a fuck. I'm trying to play Peak.
Titles, it was Nintendogs which was prioritized. According to
Why is
Kono,
Nintendogs being prioritized over a game that's clearly their fucking bestseller? Why? A game so good that you have 7 versions versus fucking Nintendogs. Yeah, totally prioritize the game that only has one other fucking addition to it versus the game that has 7 additions to it because it's just that fucking good. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy.
When we got to the stage where we'd really be getting down to business on Mario Kart 7, lots of titles were underway in the department, and we had a problem. We didn't have enough members to develop the game. Kono began discussing this problem with some of the other high-level staff at Nintendo, including President Satoru Iwata and producer of the Metroid Prime series, Kensuke Tanabe. Tanabe's role at the company was to coordinate development with external game studios, including Texas-based Retro Studios. Retro Studios were the ones behind the Metroid Prime trilogy, and at the time, work was just finishing on Donkey Kong Country Returns. Kono said in an interview, the timing when they were going to be wrapped up with Donkey Kong Country Returns matched the timing we would start needing help. The timing was right, and we ended up making it happen.
Thank God.
And so began an international partnership to bring the next Mario Kart
Let's
title
go.
to life. That December, a group of developers from the Texas-based studio were flown out to Japan to meet producer Hideki Kono, director Kosuke Yabuki, and the rest of the Mario Kart team at Nintendo. While initially the two groups felt a little distant, it was during a dinner at a yakiniku restaurant that the barriers were broken down. After returning to the US, Retro's staff held weekly video calls with the Mario Kart devs in Japan. It was decided that half the courses would be created by Retro and half by Nintendo in Japan. This way, each group could learn new approaches and take inspiration from the work of the other studio. It helped that Retro's devs were all big Mario Kart fans. Kono stated, they were very, very knowledgeable about Mario Kart. During one video call, slow internet meant that Retro were the only ones who could hear the other studio's audio. Nintendo's Japanese staff were impressed when Retro continued the call using
Ain't no way. Ain't no way that even Nintendo's Wi-Fi is fucking dog water. What the fuck? Bro! They could afford some good ass Wi-Fi. Yo, see, this explains everything. Nintendo themselves, ain't no wonder Mario Kart is so fucking laggy. Nintendo can't even fucking get some good ass Wi-Fi. Mario Kart 7 was that. Okay, Mario Kart 7 was a bit long ago, but it wasn't like super long ago. Like, this explains everything. This explains everything. No wonder fucking A Deluxe's Wi-Fi is so fucking dog shit. Nintendo's Wi-Fi is also fucking dog shit.
hand gestures alone. And so, after an international collaboration between Kyoto and Texas, Mario Kart 7 was released for the 3DS in 2011, becoming the best-selling game on the system.
2011?
The Mario Kart team
2011? God damn, I'm old. That was a while ago. God fucking damn. God damn. 2011? Holy shit. I feel old as hell. God damn.
and Retro Studios parted ways shortly afterwards, with Retro developing a sequel to Donkey Kong Country
Older than
Returns,
me?
the critically acclaimed Tropical Freeze. Meanwhile, the Mario Kart devs in Japan began work on the most ambitious and best-selling game in the series' history.
That was
Part 8,
15?
Mario Kart 8. It was at the start of the 2010s that
Wii
Nintendo
U.
began developing their newest home console, the Wii U. Along with the inclusion of a second screen, this would be Nintendo's first HD game console. And once
There were
work
13.
finished up on Mario Kart 7, director Kosuke Yabuki and producer Hideki Kono began brainstorming ideas for the next entry in the series. They knew they needed to again surprise players by bringing something new to the table, but what? They'd already gone into the skies and underwater. Where else? Their first idea was to attach drills to the front of the karts and have them dig underground. Subterranean racing is how Hideki Kono described it.
Oh! Digging underground? Why digging though? Loki sounds interesting. That's an interesting idea, but like, why though? Digging underground. I don't know how I feel about that. What the fuck? It said put drills on the front of the cars and have them dig? I don't know. That Loki sounds kind of cool though. I don't know.
But it didn't take long for this idea to fall by the wayside in favour of a more exciting and frankly more fun game mechanic: anti-gravity driving. What if courses could snake onto walls or even upside down? The team's first idea to utilise anti-gravity.
Okay, so I don't know. Like anti-grav. The thing about the anti-grav, because here's my like, I guess my I don't know. Here's my gripe about the anti-grav. The thing is, the anti-grav on paper, it's cool as fuck. If when you look at the tracks from from a bird's eye view, it looks pretty cool, right? But the thing is, when you're playing the track, you don't feel the anti-grav. Like, you don't really feel it that much. So it's cool, but the thing is, the anti-grav, you don't really I don't know, you don't really feel it. Like, it's kind of just like you're just driving regularly. Like, I don't know. But I don't know. I'm assuming that's why they probably removed it in World. Probably why they fucking removed it, because they were just like, yeah, I don't know. It's cool on paper, but it's just like you don't really feel it when you're driving. When you're in first person, kind of. You don't really feel it.
Driving was a Mobius strip. If you cut a ring of paper and twist one half around before attaching the ends together, you have a loop of paper where the front and back connect as one long loop. A racetrack in the shape of this Mobius strip would be the perfect showcase for the game's new anti-gravity mechanic. And this twisted loop looked a lot like the number 8, which inspired the game's title and logo. And so, with the concept decided on, it was time to enter development in full. According to Yabuki, the core team of developers was the same as those who'd worked on the previous entry, Mario Kart 7, albeit only the Japanese side of the team. But, like I mentioned, the Wii U was Nintendo's first HD console, and across the company, Nintendo's developers found working in HD considerably more difficult than expected. According to Shigeru Miyamoto, we may have underestimated the scale of the change to HD development.
He said, "I'm back. I was eating spicy rog spaghetti and pizza watching the stream." What the fuck is spicy rog spaghetti? Why eating spaghetti and pizza? What the fuck? That's some big back activity. That's some big back activity if I ever seen it. But welcome back.
And as a result, the overall software development took more time than originally anticipated. To keep development on track, it was decided to once again bring on an external studio to help out.
I can't gain
This
weight.
time, Bandai Namco.
Lucky
Unlike
you.
the fairly equal partnership with Retro Studios, Bandai Namco were very much a support studio on Mario Kart 8, with Nintendo's internal staff making the major creative decisions. According to Bandai Namco's own website, we produced approximately half of visual assets for courses, characters, and machine parts. Bandai Namco's involvement was crucial in getting the game out on time and to a high level of polish. And so, in early 2014, Mario Kart 8 was released for the Wii U. It received glowing reviews, which praised its fantastic visuals and music, along with the exciting new anti-gravity filled courses. On the Wii U, the game sold 8.5 million copies, which
Damn.
means that over 60% of Wii U owners picked up a copy of Mario Kart 8. That's
Damn.
an impressive statistic. But it wasn't on Wii U where the game hit its stride, as it were. No, Mario Kart 8's true success lay just around the corner.
Deluxe?
Part 8.5, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Kart Tour, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit.
Man, I don't give a fuck about Tour.
I've now covered
Or
all
Home
of the
Circuit. Or
mainline
both of
Mario Kart games from the SNES up until the Wii U.
My Go 8
But
Deluxe?
those 8 games are only the tip of the iceberg. First of all, there's Mario Kart's arcade offerings, Mario Kart Arcade GP from 2005, along with 3 sequels released in 2000.
He's a Home Circuit, bro. Really just put on there. That's what I'm saying, bro. Bro really put that sneak on there. Ain't nobody playing that. Low-key, I was gonna get Home Circuit because I don't know, bro. It kind of brings back childhood memories. I was gonna get Home Circuit. I don't know. Maybe if it becomes cheap as fuck, I'll get it. Cause low-key, I'm not gonna lie. I brought back some childhood memories. Cause I know when I was like a wee lad back in the day before my glistening muscles showed up, and the Daisy Enjoyer aura started to shine through. I was really into cars. I like playing with toy cars and shit. And literally, I'm telling you right now, my toy box was 90% just fucking Hot Wheels cars and shit. Like just Hot Wheels cars, the little fucking orange little Hot Wheels fucking courses and shit. Like that was like 95% of my fucking toy box. I'm telling you right now. Literally just full to the brim with just Hot Wheels shit. And the coolest thing about it was that all the no matter what Hot Wheels shit you got, they all combine together. Like if you want to combine them, you can low-key combine them together. And I'm telling you, my room used to be so fucking messy. Like my mom would get so upset at me because like I would literally just have my room my whole room would be a fucking racetrack, dog. Unironically, my whole room used to be a fucking racetrack. Like I would have chairs and shit posted up, holding up certain parts of the course up. Like, oh my god, yo, that's when my creativity peaked. That was like, yo, the fact I could do that again, but then this time I can actually play a game where I'm driving as Mario. Oh, yo, I might make my room messy again. I'm not gonna lie to you. That really made me want me to get the game. But I was like, yeah, I don't need that shit. I don't know. Maybe sometime in the future. But yeah, I don't know. That was me. My thoughts about getting that game. But low key, like Tor, if Tor wasn't pay to win at the beginning, or like pay to get the shit at the beginning, I probably would play Tor more. But that game fell off. I ain't gonna lie. That game fucking fell off. I ain't playing that shit. That shit is a fucking sneak too, honestly. It's less of a sneak than fucking Home Circuit, but it's still a fucking sneak. No one gives a shit about Tor. Nobody gives a shit about Tor. I played it for one day. I played it for maybe 1 or 2 days. The only reason I played it for more than a day is because I unlocked Pauline, and I wanted Pauline, and I got Pauline like off rip. I think the day I got the game. And then immediately after that, I uninstalled the game. But yeah, I don't know. Bro put 2 sneaks in there.
2007, 2013, and 2017. These games were developed by Bandai Namco, though not the same part of the company that worked on Mario Kart 8. Hideki Kono explained, "We wanted them to have a free hand when they made it. We wanted them to have their own vision, and so we told them to go ahead, go do that on your own." The lack of involvement from Nintendo explains these games' unique vibe, plus the inclusion of non-Nintendo characters
Pac-Man?
like Pac-Man. Then we have the best-selling game in the entire Mario Kart series,
Best
Mario
selling.
Kart 8 Deluxe.
My GOAT.
According to the game's producer, Kosuke Yabuki, he felt that the Switch would be perfect for Mario Kart, thanks to its dual controllers, which make local multiplayer a breeze. And so, not wanting to waste any time before bringing a Mario Kart title to the system, the team made the decision to bring an updated version of Mario Kart 8 to the new console, rather than develop a new title from the ground up. This approach proved wildly successful, with the game's sales at 67 million and still growing as I make this video. In 2022, when Yabuki was asked whether he'd foreseen the game's monumental success, the producer replied, "We didn't, but in hindsight, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a good match for the Switch. You can play the console anywhere and even split the controller in two, so it's easy to pick up and play with a nearby sibling or friend. 5 years after the game's release, that appeal hasn't faded." Then, in 2019, the company released Mario Kart Tour, a Mario Kart
Man,
game
get this game
that
off
could
my
be
fucking
played
screen.
on mobile phones. Like
This
Mario Kart
rinky-dink
8
ass game.
before
Get
it,
the fuck outta here.
the game was developed in partnership with Bandai Namco, who state on their website, "We partially implemented in-game and 3D visual assets for courses, characters, and machines. We also produced approximately half of bonus challenges." It's not clear how involved the core
Pauline ass,
Mario
bro.
Kart team were in
Hey,
Mario Kart
don't-
Tour's development.
Watch it.
But despite the game's mixed reviews, it went on to receive over 200 million downloads. And then, in 2020, Nintendo released another new Mario Kart game, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit for the Switch, which puts the classic Mario Kart action in your own living room, thanks to a small remote control car carrying a camera. The game got its start when New York-based Velan Studios experimented
New
with
York?
the
New York?
idea of
New York
some
mentioned?
kind of mixed reality kart racing game. They instantly thought of Mario Kart and put together a prototype which they brought to Nintendo. Impressed, Nintendo greenlit the project. Throughout development, Velan Studios remained in close contact with both Nintendo's software and hardware teams, and the result was 2020's Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. The game received positive reviews and sold 1.7 million copies as of 2022, which is pretty impressive for a more niche entry like Home Circuit. And then finally, in 2022,
yes.
Nintendo unveiled
They added the mayor to the fucking
Mario
game.
Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass, a series of downloadable courses for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Over the course of a year and a half, a whopping 48 courses were added to the game, bringing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe up to a total of 96 courses,
Don't matter.
far more than any other game in the series.
That don't matter.
The catch? These courses were all based
Oh, tracks don't matter. All that matters is that they added my fucking mayor. New York representation. New York on top.
heavily on pre-existing tracks from Mario Kart
And they added Petey
Tour.
Piranha. Petey Piranha's also cool.
Tour isn't an ugly game, but its art style is rather incongruous with the look of Mario Kart 8.
No, I think this
Still,
fuck.
Nintendo did put in work to polish up the tracks somewhat. Yabuki said, "The word remaster might sound cheap, but we're confident that it will create new and unique experiences that are different
What's it,
to
Mommy
how
Pianist
tracks were
Mayor?
originally. We had to make all sorts of adjustments, as it wasn't enough to simply leave the tracks as they were." So, while the Nintendo Switch received no brand new mainline Mario Kart games, the series certainly wasn't dormant for those 8 years. But by 2025, it had finally become time for the next big game in this long-running series. Part 9, Mario Kart World. On the 16th of January 2025, after months of rumors, leaks, and speculation.
Yes, I remember this like it was yesterday. I stayed up all fucking night. Did I stay up all night for this? I think I stayed up all night for this. I stayed up all fucking night. And I sat my ass down. And checked my YouTube. I scrolled on my phone. Right? Scrolled on my phone. What was it, like 7, 8 a.m.? 7 a.m. My eyes crusty as fuck. My mouth parched. My stomach empty. I was like, but people were speculating. People were out here thirsty, saying, bro, Nintendo's gonna shadow drop this shit either tonight or tomorrow. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll stay up all night. Because there were so many people yapping about it. I was like, fuck, I got to stay up and figure this shit out. So I did. I sat my ass down, streamed for the entire night, checked my phone in the morning, 7 a.m. I'm tired of shit. I'm like, damn, bro, I gotta end stream. You know what I'm saying? They were wrong. But then I check my YouTube, and I see a notification from fucking Nintendo. And then I popped the fuck off. The first Switch 2 Direct felt like it was a month ago. Dead ass, bro. Nah, dead ass. It felt like it was a month ago, bro. It feels like maybe it was like 2 months ago or some shit. It honestly does feel like it was like a month or two ago. Like, time flew so fucking fast. Holy shit. But yeah. Holy fuck. I remember that. I remember that day vividly. Vividly.
Nintendo finally.
Also, by the way, I posted my reaction to this shit, so go watch it if you haven't seen it.
Unveiled their newest game console, the Switch 2, and as part of the first look trailer, a brief snippet of an unannounced new Mario Kart game was shown.
I saw this shit, and I popped the fuck off, because I literally did not expect them to fucking show this shit, like, on the fucking Switch 2 trailer. I did not expect them to show this shit, but they knew what the fuck they were doing. They just want everybody to shut the fuck up, bro. They were tired of everybody. They were like, yo, just shut the fuck up and just fucking take this shit. Bro, I lost my fucking mind. I was like, bro, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. They showed Mario Kart World on like literally on the Switch 2 trailer. For what reason?
When I say brief, it's about 15 seconds. But those 15 seconds were enough to set fans' imaginations running wild. The trailer showed off a new, more expressive art style, and more racers than could previously participate in a single race, 24. A few months later, Nintendo announced Mario Kart World, a truly next-generation Mario Kart game. In World, each of the game's courses are interconnected, forming a large, open world for players to race across. In fact, in Grand Prix mode, players actually drive from one track to the next. And with exciting new modes like Free Roam and Knockout Tour, mechanics like rail grinding and wall riding, and a huge roster of characters and costumes, Mario Kart World seems like the biggest Mario Kart game to date. Not biggest in terms of track number, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe will likely reign supreme on that count with its total of 96. But in terms of scope,
my true goal?
This is the biggest. So, Super Mario Kart got its start in 1993,
God
kind
damn!
of experiment by a tiny team of just 8
That's
people.
Metallica Knight's age. What the fuck?
Flash forward to 2025, when Mario Kart World is launching alongside Nintendo's brand new console, the Switch 2. And I wonder what that original development team would think if you showed them just how far their little creation would come in 30 years. Thanks very much for watching this big, long video about Mario Kart, and a huge thank you to my patrons for helping support videos like this one. In particular, thank you to Alison Withenall.
That's actually an interesting video. I'll leave a like. That's actually interesting. The history of rage and suffering. I've always thought the reason Mario Kart survived for so long and is so popular is just because of how easy it is to pick up and play. Regardless of whether you're a skilled gamer or understand the deep cut references in a track, virtually anyone can pick up a controller and play Mario Kart. Plus the fact there's been one for every console, and most of them launch early on the console's life cycle, so everyone expects it. My dad has really been doing well for years. I grew up playing Mario Kart with him, so that was really nice to watch him tonight and forget about everything for a moment. Brought him, and I had down memory lane. So many great memories until again, incredible. The new leak, the 8 Deluxe chat on YouTube, chart on YouTube for item probabilities from the Konnichiwa Lounge nerds. Ain't no way. So wait, they leaked the fucking item probabilities? That's crazy.
Hey guys, Watson here. So items are kind of the heart of the Mario Kart series, aren't they? I've seen a lot of people talk about the new changes to items or the new items in itself, but not many people have talked about the item distribution. When you get an item and how often you get one. And with the jump to 24 players, there's a lot to unpack here. Past games had different systems that determines what item you would get. And I'm a competitive Mario Kart player, so I know a thing or two about Mario Kart and like the more precise details. And I skimmed through hours of footage in preparation for this video to learn as much about the item distribution in this game, but I also observed some other more special things regarding items that I'm gonna mention later on in the video. So let's jump right in, shall we? So first up, let's talk about the actual item distribution in Mario Kart World. For that I have to explain the previous systems used in the Mario Kart series. There has been a position-based system up to Mario Kart 8, so every title before Mario Kart 8 used that, where the actual position that you were in when you got the item box determined what chance you have at pulling a certain item. And then in Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, they changed it to a distance-based system, where your distance to the first player.
I want to look at these real quick, because I never actually looked at the chart. Go back. I never actually looked at the chart. Let me see this shit. It's in Mario Kart World item video. Oh, he's a really good German player. He's pretty cool. I've never seen the item distribution chart, but let me just see this shit. So are these the percentages, or it says the rank and then you have the item? I guess these are like the percentages, I'm guessing. So in first you can't pull reds. In second, it's like 50? 50 and then 50, 40. So mostly second and third. Interesting. Okay, that makes sense. And it makes sense that the further back you go, the less red shells you get. So it's around like second to fucking fifth. So then bananas, you 75% chance. It's fucking calculus. Yeah, it's harder because it's distance based. So yeah, it takes a lot more calculation and shit. This is the Wii one. I'm just curious. So like 75% in first, and then 40 in second, 50. Damn. And then fucking yeah, the fib box, 40% chance. Okay. Mushroom. Can't put mushrooms in first. No. Mushrooms in the bag. You got bombs. You get a 40% chance. Interesting. Star. Yeah, gotta put those in the bag. Giga mushroom. 10, 15. Damn, that's low as fuck. But you could pull in like middle spots about. Yeah, triple res. Let me see triple res. Yo, I can't wait to fucking see. Yo, I can't wait to see the 8. Loki, did they show the 8 deluxe one? I know it's probably outdated, but I still want to see it. Cause I swear to fuck they changed some shit. Whatever percentage the retros are, like in that game, they changed something about it. Cause right now it's fucking heinous. There's a heinous amount of retros. Bullet like 70% and fucking 12. Okay.
What chance you have at pulling a certain item. And then in Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8.
This is 8 or 8 deluxe. This is 8 deluxe? What the fuck is this shit? Okay. Yeah, so you have to calculate the fucking the distance. And so it is more complicated. Coonery ass chart. Rose Coonery ass chart. Let me look at this shit. I'm just curious. So the fuck? Damn, what the fuck is the rank? Yeah, it's a lot more complicated. Distance. Yeah, so it's distance based now. .0. Oh, okay, yeah. So you could change it. You can see from first, second, third, fourth. I guess these like the distance from first. So if they have like a 30-second lead, I guess like. So right now he says from. Oh no, he said from 9th to 12th. Oh, never mind. Because first, second, third to fifth, 6th to 8th, and then 9th to 12th. Okay, so this basically. What it's like? What's the time mean? Is this like the time away? No, because it's distance from first. It's not distance away from everybody else. It's distance from first. So I guess it's like if you're 30 seconds away from first, if you have like a 30-second lead or some shit. So this from 9th to 12th. What's Red Shell chance? Where's Red Shell? Not showing anything. Yeah, this chart is kind of confusing. This is blank. What? Yeah, this chart is confusing.
8 Deluxe, they changed it to a distance-based system, where your distance to the first player determined what item you could get, and if the first player is like miles ahead, you could even get insane.
Go on. Okay, now, okay, hold on.
I gotta get out of here! Where's the time machine? Where is anything? Where?
Okay, so this is second. Okay, so this is the units. Okay, so this is units. So if you're if you're basically if you're riding first places as like Mocha, for example, you have a 40%, you have a 14.7% chance to pull Nana. You have a 10% chance to pull fucking green. You have a 36.9%. You have a 37% chance to pull red. That's definitely different. This is not 36%. This is like fucking 60% or some shit. The amount of times I've been getting pelted by fucking single or triple reds in fucking first or second place. No, this definitely went up. This is probably outdated. You have a 3.7% chance for bomb. You have a 6.1% chance for horn. You have 50%. Why do you have a 50% chance for fucking coin? What the fuck? Okay, and this is okay. So let me go. What if you're farther away? So let's go down. So I guess the further down you go, the further away you are. So let's see red show. So if you're like slightly wait, so if you're like slightly further away, this is distance. This is distance units. If you're 840, I don't know how far. I don't know how far 840 units is. But it's just 840 units. It goes from 36 to 43. Okay, so this is probably like a more reasonable distance, and because 9 times out of 10, you're probably not gonna be around first place's as. You're probably like a little bit far away. So you have a 40. Okay, this sounds more accurate. 43.1% chance to pull red.
You're next.
God damn.
That was a close one.
Welcome back.
That was a closer one.
Welcome back.
It goes up to 40. So if you're 1,610 units, it goes to a 40.4 and then 40.9. Holy shit! You get a 40% chance to pull. So basically, I'm guessing this is like fucking Mocha distance. Basically, if you have like a 40% chance to pull red. But I'm still guessing this is outdated. But at one point, this was the fucking stat. That's fucking crazy. It makes sense, but I don't care. That's still fucking insane. But I guess it's fair. Whatever. I don't know how far these units are. I don't know I don't mentally know how far these units are. Blue shell from second place. It's 37% chance. No, it's not blue shell. Okay, never mind. It's not blue shell. I'm looking at the wrong shit. So mushroom is like 7.6 from like 3,130. So for horn, you have to be within 2,280 units. That's interesting. So you can't pull it any lower than or at least if you're in second, you have to be at least like 2,280 units. I don't know. This is interesting. This chart's confusing, but it's actually interesting to look at. It's actually kind of interesting. Yeah, but if you're in second, you can't. Oh, wait. Oh, you can pull. Yeah, you can't pull bullets in second. You can't pull blues in second. That makes sense. You can't pull bullets in second. You can't pull shock. That makes sense. And you can't pull crazy 8.
Frankly, I like having a healthy guinea pig that knows how to look after himself.
Real. What else looks interesting on here? If you're in second and you're 5,150 units, you get a 30% chance to pull triple shrooms. What's star? Let me look at star. So you have a 0.1% chance to pull star in second if you're within 2,760 units. How many times have I pulled star in second? It has not been that often. I'm pretty sure there was a time I pulled it in third. I don't think I ever pulled star in second. No, actually, I probably have. I just can't remember, but I probably have pulled star in second. You get a 0.1% chance. And then the lower you go, it goes to like 24% chance. Alright. You look at the recently updated one? I don't know where to find that shit. If someone knows where it is, you can send it. I'd appreciate
items.
It. I don't know where to find that shit. Or send me like the link.
While in the previous
system,
system,
you
just get a certain set amount of items in second place.
It is back to the Wii.
So that means in Mario Kart 8, if you're very close to the...
Found the Japan website? I found the Japan website? Wait, it's a Japan website?
first place, and even if you're in last place, you only get the chance to pull a mushroom at most. And that's actually the reason.
Oh, let me see that shit. I don't know. Looking at the items is mad is mad interesting because I don't know. I don't know why. I think I just like calculating shit or like just looking at numbers. It's probably because I play too many RPGs. That's probably why. It's like looking at numbers. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. We're gonna take a second look at this shit. So this should be the most. This should be the most updated shit. So I don't know. So I don't know. Let me see. Got this long ass fucking chart. Okay. What is? I don't know what this. What does this mean? Click each item to calculate conditional probabilities. I don't know what the time is for. More than 30 seconds. What is? Oh no, because some of the items. Oh, I get it. Because some items you can't pull past 30 seconds. Like shock, for example. Yeah, shock. You can't pull a shock unless 30 seconds have passed. Okay, I get it. I get it. I was wondering what the fuck the time is for. So that's what it's for. Some items you can't pull in the first 30 seconds. All right. After the race starts. Yeah. It just clicked in my head. All right, before I do this, because I'm gonna be yapping a lot. Let me get some water before I look into this. I like looking at the fucking items. But yeah, it just clicked in my head. I was like, there's certain items you can't pull. You can't pull certain items in the first like 30 seconds. So you have to wait. Oh. All right. All right, got my water. I just want to look at this shit. This is the most updated shit. So this is after 30 seconds. So let me see. Because usually I'm like 6th to 8th. Put it past 30 seconds. So if I'm in 6th to 8th, if I'm how many units from first? So if I'm 4,000, 7,500, or 4,075 units, let me see. I can't pull shock. You can't pull shock in this? Yeah, what? You have to be in damn near last. Oh yeah. Wow, I didn't even know it. Wait, you can only pull shock from 9th to 12th? I didn't even notice that. What the fuck? Okay, I didn't know that. But that makes sense because sometimes people will be in 9th to 12th and then smuggle a shock and then they'll get into like 6th or 8th or 3rd and 5th. But mostly like 6th to 8th and then they'll use it. I didn't know that. But then again, it makes sense because to pull stars and like all the good items, you have to be in 9th. So it makes sense. It makes sense now. I just didn't think about it. But yeah, all the broken shits like the stars, the bullets, the fucking shock, the goldens, you get that if you're lower than 9th. And then you get 6th to 8th, that's when you start getting all the fucking ass items. Okay. He said the arrows on the side is are red and blue for what distance they appear and disappear at. What? What items appear and disappear at? So does blue mean they appear, or does blue mean they disappear? I guess blue means they disappear. Red means they appear. Oh, that tells you. Okay, so prime plant appear when you're within 1,190 units. The boomerang disappears from 2,000. So it disappears when you're 2,760 units away. Wait, it says boomerang disappear. Boomerang disappear from. Hold on, let me put some music. I gotta put some. Where's the link? There you go. All right. So it's going to disappear from 2017. Does it mean you have to be within, or does it mean when you're away? When you're less than 200? Okay, when you're 2,760 units or greater, it disappears. Or does it mean when you get to that point, it disappears? I don't know. Okay, but yeah, this makes sense. Damn, so if you're one unit, pull mushroom. I hate fucking pulling shrooms. Cause how the fuck do I be pulling shrooms? How do I pull single shroom? Well, no, but sometimes I don't even be bagging. Like, I understand if you bag and you pull single shroom. Sometimes I don't be bagging and I still pull single shroom. You have a 0.4% chance to pull a fucking shroom? At the least? Why? What the fuck is this? That fucking pisses me off. But that makes sense. You get all the broken shit. Yeah, this is really low. Crazy 8 is pretty fucking low. Okay, yeah, so within 30 seconds, you can't pull Crazy 8. You can't pull Shock. Let me look at this. So... Let me. Well, actually, I don't even have to bookmark this. We're gonna be playing World. I wish I bookmarked this sooner. This shit. So 6th to 8th. Finish from first. You pull a fucking boomerang. 6 points. You have a 6% chance to pull boomerang. Plant is pretty low. Boomerang and plant are pretty low. You can't pull horn. You can't pull coin. At least not from. Yeah, you can't pull a coin or a horn at all. You have like a 6%, 7% chance to pull blue. 0.5%. Okay. Let me see. What are the red shell? Red shell. You close. You got 24% chance. And as you get further down, you get like 7% chance. So it's not huge. Okay. Star, what about Star? So Star is like, you get like at the highest, at the closest. Yeah, so you can't pull with once you're within like 2,280, you can't get it. You have to be 2,280 or more, or greater, and then you can pull Star, even though it's still fucking low as shit. Okay, let me see third and fifth. Okay. So you have to be 3,130 units for a 0.4% chance to pull blue. What about Shock? Damn, you gotta be 3,190 units to have a less than 1% chance to fucking pull a fucking Shock in third. Holy shit. Oh no, that's not for Shock, that's for Bullet. You can't pull Shock. Okay, I was about to say, that's for Bullet. I was looking at the wrong column. Yeah, so for Bullet, in third place, you have a you have to be at least 3,790 units away to have a 0.1% chance to pull bullet from 3rd to 5th. Yeah, so plant all around is not really that high. You really have a highest chance to pull plant. You see the red shells now. Red shell, if you're within basically what, 1 unit, you have a 20% chance. Uh, 840 units, you have a 17.8% chance. And then 1,190, you have a 19.6% chance. And then it starts going down. Basically, when you're within 1,190 units, that's the highest chance you get. Oh, no, actually, no, it's not. Wait, I have to go from, oh wait, it goes from 1 unit to, that goes 20%. Then after 840, it goes 17. Then it goes back to 19. Why? The fuck? That's weird. You have an 18 within, if you're within 1 unit, you have 18.3% chance. Second. Damn! No wonder, bro. What the fuck is this? Bro, what the fuck is this? Bro, coin flip red shell? Are you fucking serious? Oh my god. That explains everything. That explains everything. Bro, what the fuck? Nintendo, what the fuck is that, bro? Coin flip red shell in second. But basically, red shell in, like, if you're within 1,109, which probably isn't that far, it's coin flip. It's either they get a red shell or they get some other fucking stupid ass item. They get some dumb ass item. It's coin flip. Holy fucking shit. 48% chance. Yo, if Roy sees this chart, he's gonna get mad as fuck. Bro, what the fuck? 48.6% chance? That's ridiculous. And as you get there, it goes slightly down. Okay. But even if you get farther, it's still pretty high until you get to like here. Yeah, damn. Alright, let's check first. Yeah, so first could barely pull shit. You have a 50% chance for banana. You have 8.8% chance for green shell. Okay, this is definitely a fucking lie. This is a fucking lie. Because the amount of times I've been in second and I get fucking bombed on some bullshit, this is definitely like more than fucking 4%. This is at least like 20%, bro. Maybe 15. This is a fucking lie. This is a fucking lie. This is definitely not 4.2. You have a 70% chance for a coin, which makes sense. That's nothing special. That's nothing special at all. So if you combine, so hold on, I want to calculate this shit real quick. So what's the chance of me pulling anything else besides coin? I just want to see out of curiosity. I'm just gonna add up the percentages. Yeah, 15.1 plus 8.8 plus 4.2 Plus 2.2. Okay, so you have a 30% chance to pull anything but coin, which isn't terrible. That isn't terrible. Just you have a 30.3% chance. That isn't terrible. Now, obviously, you want the bomb. Either you want the bomb or you want the fucking horn. Which is like, that's like a 6% chance of pulling either one of those in total. The fuck? God damn, my screen's so bright. 16.1% chance and 9.4% chance for free shot. So in first, you can only pull bananas and green shells within the first 20 seconds. I didn't know that. Then after 30 seconds, you can pull bomb. You can pull bomb and I guess coin and horn. Oh no, you can still pull coin. First 20 seconds. It just goes up to 70. It goes up to 74, which makes sense because it's the beginning of the race. You probably have no coins. And after 30 seconds, it goes back to 69. It goes from 74 to 69. Is that it? Yeah, it stays like that. All right. That's interesting though. I'll bookmark it still. I don't know, it's interesting. That's interesting though. That's interesting though. Very interesting. That was very eye-opening. Fucking coin flip red shell. Okay, yep. Makes perfect sense.
Reason why I can make the case here that Mario Kart World uses a position-based system like in previous games like in Mario Kart Wii for example. Because for one look at this clip, this player pulls a triple mushroom in 3rd place and he's barely behind 1st place and he pulls insane items for that. That would not be possible in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And since this is the final lap of a knockout tour, he's in 2nd last place and more likely to just pull very good items. Also take a look at this clip for example. Here they pull a star in 6th place, also with 20 players, which is an insane pull already, but look at how far ahead the 1st place is. That's barely like 7-8 meters or something, and he pulls a star. That would have been maximum a shroom in Mario Kart 8. So I strongly believe we are back to a position-based system again. But what is the actual item distribution now that we've clarified that it's probably a position-based system? For that we take a look at Mario Kart Wii's distribution, because this is the game that is closest to the amount of players that we have in Mario Kart World that has a position-based system. And now you just could go ahead and double the positions and see if that applies, like for example something that you would pull in 6th place would now be pulled in 12th place and so on. And that is like a decent basis to get a feeling what you can pull in each spot in this game. Like the weaker items that you would pull in 1st to 3rd place in Mario Kart Wii, you can also pull in like 1st to 6th place in Mario Kart World, right? But I've also noticed that you can't really transfer the old item distribution as well to Mario Kart World, because I feel like in Mario Kart World you can pull very strong items very quickly. You just saw a star being pulled earlier in 6th place with 20 players.
God damn!
You could only pull a star in 8th place in Mario Kart Wii, and that would translate to what, 14th place if you scaled it up to 20 players? And also I've seen a golden being pulled in 10th with 24 players. If you just scale down the positions to Mario Kart Wii, that would be a golden being pulled in 5th place, which is crazy. And I strongly feel like you can pull better items quicker in Mario Kart World than in past titles that use the position-based system. Like with 24 players from 6th place onward, you can pull very strong items. And from 10th place onward, you have the chance to get like every good power item in this game, with the exception of maybe the shock and the bullet bill. And the 10th place would be the equivalent of a 5th place in Mario Kart Wii, and you would not pull items that strong in 5th place. But it makes sense, there's just twice as many players, so people in the back have just a harder time catching up, so you have to have better items more quickly in order to actually have a chance to get back to the top. And also the item distribution scales down accordingly, like in older games. Like in knockout modes, with each lap that passes 4 players just get eliminated, and once you're down to 12 players, the item distribution resembles Mario Kart Wii's item distribution way more than. And in past games, if you played against friends in private rooms or online, you sometimes had less than 12 players anyway, and the item system would scale accordingly, and that happens here too in Mario Kart World. So in the last lap with 4 players only left, you get insane items in 4th place, because that's the last place, right? Now that we clarified the item distribution system used in the game, I gotta talk about some other special cases that I observed while skimming through hours of footage. First, the first item box, or the early item box, is scripted differently again in Mario Kart World. In Mario Kart 8, in the first 20 and 30 seconds, you would just get less strong items all across the board. And in Mario Kart World, it seems to be the same. At least if you run for an item immediately and you are in last place, the maximum that you can pull is a triple mushroom. Back in Mario Kart 8, the maximum that you could pull was a mushroom if you were just going for the item immediately and get it in last place. So there's a cap on the items for the early item boxes, which is timer based, probably the first 20 seconds or so again. Also, the item boxes spawn super fast again. I mean, it's pretty apparent, you can barely miss them, they can still get snatched away from you, but the timing is very tight. And I mean, they buffed it like crazy in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe already, that they respawn so much faster. Also, the food item is kind of a special case. If you get the food item box, you always get the food item, right? But there's actually 3 tiers of a food item, and it's based on your position, how likely you are to get like the better stages of it. Like the first stage is like barely half of a mushroom, the second stage is kind of a mushroom, but the third stage, that's a very long boost, kind of like 2 mushrooms boosts in a row.
Damn!
And in first place, I've only seen them pulling like a small first stage food item, because that would provide a lot of balancing issues if the first place would just reliably get mushrooms to take shortcuts, and we don't know if you can dodge a blue shell yet with that item. That would be a huge balancing issue, because the blue shell would just be so much worse, since first place always gonna have something to dodge. So I hope, and I don't think so, that you can dodge the blue shell with the food item. Also, another funny thing that I observed is someone pulled a double.
I don't think that'll be bad if first place can dodge with the fucking food. I don't think it's that bad. It depends on, because again, I don't know. It depends on how frequent the food is. If first place can dodge with food, and there's like, you know, because it doesn't seem like the food spots are that like frequent. It doesn't seem like the food is that frequent of an item, or like something you could pick up from like, or like at least the food places. It doesn't seem that frequent that you can just fucking, you know, pull it and then get to the next spot before a blue shell comes. Especially if you're far as fuck away. Like, I don't know. I would imagine someone would probably get a blue shell almost immediately. Probably. Or like, I don't know, after like 20 seconds or some shit. You get into the blue shell. But I don't know. I don't think that'll be bad. Depending on how frequent the food places are.
Triple mushroom at some point. I mean, that was not really possible before. You've seen sometimes people pull double coins in Mario Kart 8, which was a glitch, so I don't know what happened here, if that's a glitch or intentional, because we didn't have that before, that you could pull the same item twice. Also, the blue shell, guys, at least in knockout mode, that is a menace. This thing comes almost guaranteed each lap. I've seen a clip of a player that got targeted 4 times by a blue shell in the first 3 laps of a knockout mode. So that's something you have to keep in mind, at least for that mode. And something else that I observed in later stages in the knockout mode, like when you only have 8 players or 4 players left, I've seen them barely pull certain items, especially new ones like the coin block or something. I have not seen it being pulled in the last 2 laps of a knockout tour, so maybe some items are just not in the item distribution anymore
they're
in the
disabled.
later laps of knockout tour. But I mean, for that item, the coin block, it makes sense, since I mean, you kind of don't want to have a coin item anymore in the last ditch of the tour, and you should have the maximum amount of coins anyway at that point. Also, people know by now that shrooms are on average super strong, and you can pull them literally anywhere and also way further ahead than in previous games. Like, I've seen someone pull a golden in 10th place with 24 players. That would be a 5th place in Mario Kart Wii, right? And a golden is super strong. Pulling that in 10th
Yeah, I
place
feel like
is
the
insane.
mushrooms are really
Also,
strong.
triple mushroom, I've seen them being pulled as far ahead as in 4th place with 24 players. That would be 2nd place if you scaled it down to Mario Kart Wii, which is insane, because triple mushrooms are just such a good item in this game. Also, single shrooms, you can pull that anywhere except 1st place, so 2nd place mushrooms are back and still a very good pull for 2nd place. But some of the new items are super rare to pull. Like, I looked at 3 hours of footage in preparation for this video. I've only seen the ice flower being pulled once. But also the coin block, and to some extent the gold shell, is a very rare item that barely gets pulled. I was surprised to see the hammer being the most commonly pulled new item, and it's mostly being pulled in 3rd place. That surprised me, because it seems like a strong item for 3rd
Oh, you can throw it
place.
back?
And the gold
Oh,
shell was
shit.
more commonly pulled in the back. Like here in 15th place when there were only 16 players. And you would really rather want
shit.
mushrooms in the back and not the gold shell, right? Also, the coin block is also being pulled more towards the back, which you kinda want to avoid because you want those power items to get back in the front. Another interesting thing that I observed is when someone used a karmic item and you get transformed, your drift gets cancelled while you transform. So maybe if you're
What?
just smart about it, you can use the karmic item purposely in certain sections.
Oh,
Think about
nah,
maybe-
yeah, that's gonna be some Mickey shit. Oh, God. That's gonna be some grimy ass shit. Someone, if there's like a fucking hairpin, if there's a hairpin on a track, someone used the Kamek item on the hairpin, oh, God, yeah, you're cooked. Holy shit. Oh, that's gonna be grimy as fuck.
The Airship Fortress, the insane downward spiral, which is a very tight drift at the end. If you just use the karmic there, everyone's gonna lose their drift and be just completely thrown off their line and lose a lot of time doing that. Also, the Boo item I've seen being pulled very far ahead too, like in 3rd place with 24 players, which is a pretty strong
Boo
pull for
in 3rd?
because you can use that to avoid a lot of things, potentially snag some shrooms and also dodge shock other items. But overall, there's still a tendency to get the strongest items all the way in the bottom spots, like the last 2 of them. Like the lightning, I have not seen being pulled anywhere except the last 2 places. And maybe for the lightning there is a distance-based mechanic built into the game, so that you just don't pull the lightning when you're 10 meters behind first when the pack is super close together or something. Also, the Mega Mushroom in Mario Kart Wii was kind of a mid-pack item, but in Mario Kart World I've seen it being pulled more towards the back, like here in 16th place from 20 players. And lastly, the Star is super rare. Like in the 3 hours of footage that I
Really?
watched, I've only seen it being pulled 3 times or so. But
What?
it can be pulled very far ahead, even in 6th place if you remember the clip from earlier. Which for that position is an insane pull, and if you scale it down to Mario Kart Wii, that's 3rd place, right? A star in 3rd place, that's crazy. So maybe the star is kind of the lucky age replacement, a very rare item, but it can be pulled in a lot of different spots. So those were all the more special observations I could find looking through footage. What do you think about the item distribution in this game? Do you agree with my assessment that I made, that it's a position?
So Star being more of like a fucking rare ass shit. I mean, okay. To be fair, I could kind of see why. I don't know. He said he only, even though like, because I would think that it would be pulled further in the back. But he says he's only seen it. It's been super rare, even if you're in the back, it's super rare. Which I guess I can kind of understand, because like for example, like in like 8 Deluxe, right? Like if you pull Star and you're like fucking in almost dead last, unless you're on a bagger, like unless you're on like Calamari Desert or fucking, I don't know, fucking like basically like Mario Circuit or some shit. Star is kind of fucking ass pulling like damn near last, unless you get a shock dodge. which doesn't really matter in this game because if someone has shock and they're in front of you, it doesn't hit you. It only hits everybody in front of them. So, but my point being like, stars kind of as if you're like all the way in left. Like if you're in the crowd, if you're like in the pack or like in the middle of the pack or like towards like still in the pack but like towards I guess a little bit towards the back but close to the middle. Stars kind of helpful, kid, because you could fucking bump into people and like dodge shit. But you're still it only gives you like obviously it gives you invincibility. It gives you the ability to go off road. You maintain your speed off road, and you move slightly faster. But if you're in like last place, if you're like close and dead last, like in 8 Deluxe, if you're like in fucking 11th or 10th, stars kind of ass. It doesn't really do anything. So that's what made me think like, okay, Star it would make sense if they put. It would make sense if they made Star like a mid pack type thing. Because in the middle of the pack, you're probably gonna get hit the most. Because again, everybody's jumbled up like a Black Friday. Everybody's trapped like sardines in the fucking middle. So it makes sense that to give you, to have a small chance to give you a star in the middle, so you could just break out. But I don't know. It's interesting that they just made it rare as fuck. Like they made like the crazy 8 of the game, just made it rare as fuck. 'Cause I don't think, because especially like if you're if you're in the back, it's not really that helpful. Depending on the course. The only redeeming thing I can see, the only argument I can see saying, or the only argument I can see people saying against that is like saying like, oh well, you could do like you can cut off road basically, which that is true. In this game, there is a lot of fucking off road, because again, it's open world, which means you could drive pretty much everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. So it makes sense that the star would kind of be broken, especially on, I guess, depending on the track. But I guess a lot more tracks now since like again it's open world, so there's a lot more off road basically, and there's a lot less barriers that like keep you from like going off the track. Like I could kind of understand people saying that like, oh yeah, Star's kind of slow, if you're in the back, but if you're like on a course with a lot of off road, what I'm saying, you could just cut through the fucking dirt and like cut off like fucking like 15 seconds or some shit. I don't know, but like, yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. It's very interesting they made Star super fucking rare. Oh, it's very interesting. It's so independent. It's important to mention that 8 Wii U had purely distance-based system, and 8 Deluxe was changed to have a mix of position and distance. I didn't know that. What the fuck? Mario Kart 8 was just purely distance? That's interesting. So, one reason you might be pulling more Shrooms Goldens is because they can't have as many offensive items like shells and such with double the players because it would feel bad. Well, we've seen that the hit stun for most items is a lot shorter. Yeah, they have a lot less hit stun. It's position and distance, which means you pull weird shit in dumbass places. Oh, I know that game was fucking Mickey, bro. That's crazy. The position-based items is way better system anyway. You don't have to access a lot of the fun. You don't have access to a lot of the fun arsenal unless someone is front running with distance-based balancing. Frankly, allowing less skilled players to gain a lead temporarily allows more fun for everyone and keeps matches interesting without veering too far. What I didn't like about distance-based items was that in a lot of not super competitive races, it felt like 1 or 2 people would get really far behind, have no chance of catching up because the middle spots are pulling items just as strong. Yeah, see, and that's the thing, right? That's the thing, right? Because Literally, this is exactly what I fucking talk about. Especially when I play with Mocha. This is exactly what the fuck I talk about. When Mocha's like in fucking first and he's front running and he's like fucking 13 billion miles in first, right? And I'm in second. And like there's like, and then pretty much it's like Mocha a huge ass break, me like maybe a medium sized break, and then the rest of the race, right? Literally, second place is cooked. Second and third place is probably cooked because everybody from like fucking 12th to like fucking I don't know to like 5th or 6th is gonna pull like completely busted ass items. They're gonna get like fucking golden into fucking I don't know, golden into triple into fucking star or some shit. And you're gonna get mollywopped. Or they're gonna pull like triple reds or some shit. They're gonna pull like quadruple reds. And you know, that shit fucking sucks. So, you know what I'm saying? But again, it's like I don't know. But that's also the thing, yeah, but this guy's right. Because, you know, if first place is too far away and like let's say like 5th to like 7th or 5th to 8th is pulling like fucking goldens, triple mushrooms and shit, or triple reds, you know, it basically last place, you know, even though like yeah, 12th place is gonna pull like fucking, you know, they're gonna start pulling they're also gonna pull goldens and like fucking bullets and shit. But I'm like, if everybody else is pulling bullets and shit too, you can't catch up. You know? But I kinda get what he's saying. I felt the exact opposite. Position based made it so no one caught to first because second place never got good enough items to close the distance. That's it. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know which one is better. They both have their pros and cons, right? Because like I said here, like you know, if middle spots pull good ass items like broken items, and last place pulls broken items, last place is not going to be able to catch up. People that are in like dead last probably are not going to catch up. But then here, it's also an issue like with position based because second place, you know, if the items are set for positions, right? Second place, if first place is like fucking billions of miles ahead, second place might not pull good enough items because they're in second place. So, and the closer you get to first, the weaker the items get. So second place probably won't be able to catch up to first if they're too far away. So I don't know. They both have their fucking like issues. I don't know. This for sure an issue as well. Although I don't find pressing, just goes to that the way they made distance based items work absolutely did not pan out how they wanted it to. Past Mario Karts with position based items had thriving competitive scenes, so I'm not worried about that. I guess like Wii's position based, and I guess Wii's like fine. So what the fuck is this? Fucking new feature. I don't know what I'm talking about. Who's blowing up my fucking phone? Holy shit on my fucking phone. Oh, the Kamek item stops your drift because it reverses your controls. Oh, so it makes sense. So if you're holding right, so if you're drifting right, and Kamek item happens, it stops your drift because now it's opposite. But then if you have the auto shit on, I guess it corrects it. Even though it basically it corrects your controls kind of. Okay. Interesting. The reg does basically say lower position, better items. We'll see if they mend that literally when it comes out. But I can see them switching to purely position based. The overall elements could cause issues with trying to do distance based. This game also has a decent number of cannons. and the item system kind of broke for a bit every time someone went through one of those. I wonder if they're gonna give you more advantageous items in the middle as a way to discourage bagging. I also wonder if coin items only appear if you're under a certain number of coins. I also love to see some super obscure requirements to active certain items like hidden item stat on a character's top speed or the star only appearing if there's a lot of players traffic nearby. Huh? I understand the first part. He's saying he's hoping that he's wondering if they're going to give you they're going to give you better items more frequently in the middle spots to stop people from bagging. Well, I don't know. I don't know because sometimes it's not even if it's not about the items, it's about just not getting hit. Because when you lose, because again, I don't know, but like in eight deluxe, right? You know, I forgot how fast how much faster do you go if you have max coins? Isn't it like 5% faster? I think it's like 5% faster with coins. Which that's 5% is it sounds small as fuck, but it's kind of fucking broken. Nate Deluxe, one wall bump, 6 people pass you. That's kind of true. That's kind of true. If you kind of because if you hit a wall, because I don't know, the wall physics in 8 Deluxe are kind of, I don't know. It is kind of punishing. If you even like slightly like dink a wall, you kind of lose most of your speed. I don't know. But I don't know. Let's just say for example, like max coins, like 10 coins in 8 Deluxe boosts your speed by like fucking 5% or whatever. 5%, as small as it is, 5% is a huge ass difference. Like if you're to race with somebody who has 10 coins and you have 0 coins, you're not fucking winning. At least like not without any items, you're not winning. Cuz 5% is just such a huge difference. As small as the number is, it's a huge fucking difference. So, even if it's not people bagging for items, they're gonna bag either to like, I don't know. Cuz I can't say they're gonna pull shock. But I mean they could still bag to pull shock to get rid of everybody's items. Even though shock is like slightly worse. You could still try to do it to like get rid of everybody's items and then start making a comeback. But if it's not for the items, it's gonna be just to not get hit. Because if you get comboed, it makes it harder to get a comeback. And it makes it harder to break away from the pack. So huh. What the hell? It said the star being rare is about the same as it is from Armor Core 7, where it's possible to pull a star in 4th or 5th place. Along with the Lucky 7 as well at times, but I think the online item distribution table will be different than offline, so that will play a factor as well. Really? Really? I didn't think about that. That is true. 7 only has 8 placements. Hmm. Oh, this is interesting. I never thought about it. I never thought about this. But what if they do have different item charts for like for online and offline? I didn't think about that. Hmm. But see, okay, this guy mentioned what I was saying. This guy mentioned what I was saying. He said, "I'm surprised you didn't mention how the functionality of the stars seems to be nerfed and adjusted as well. In that clip, Bowser is barely moving any faster than the other racers, if at all. Stars used to give you a huge speed boost while active. No, apology if you covered this in your 2-hour commentary video. I may have forgotten. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. The star doesn't really do much. Maybe had a high speed stat anyway, so it wasn't noticeable. Maybe they did slow it down to distinguish them better, but I decided against naming every change to item good because it would be doubled. Until but others have covered the change pretty well. Yeah, but that's what I was saying. Like the star doesn't really do much. It gives you fucking a slight speed boost and invincibility. The only really I guess broken thing besides invincibility is like you just even though it's not fast, even though it doesn't speed you up considerably, you still cut through off road and catch up. That's interesting though. Final Mario Kart World characters. What the fuck is this month ago? Nah, Thwomp would be crazy, bro. Low key, if Thwomp gets in the fucking game, I'm playing the fucking Thwomp because I'm about to stomp all y'all. Low key, there should be updates. Low key, I'm hoping that there's character updates. Like they actually either they add more costumes or they add more characters. If they had Thwomp, I'm maining fucking Thwomp. I'm about to stomp y'all. Where's that new info? Not the new info one. Where's the other one? This is 6 hours ago. What is this? What is this? Cause I've been seeing this shit on my timeline. What the fuck is this shit?
This is an open world game, maybe not, but there's something that I think is actually better happening to the tracks in this game. Yes, it looks like these tracks might actually be able to be played in reverse, which is something that I think only happened in Mario Kart Tour. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, we might be able to play every single track in this game in the opposite direction because we actually have gameplay of it. There's a Mario Kart World commercial airing in Japan right now, and pay attention to this scene. Yep, Bowser Jr. is on Mario Bros. Circuit and is driving in reverse. Yeah, he's going up the loop towards the left, where originally, and you can see it here in this Treehouse gameplay, you'll go up the loop and to the right. And you can even see with both of the maps that they are completely reversed. Now, this doesn't seem to be part of a dedicated tour. For instance, this doesn't seem to be...
Isn't that just mirror mode? Cause look, it's the same. It's the road, and then it goes to the fucking, the dirt road that does the U-turn. Isn't that just mirror? Oh, am I tripping or is that just mirror? It's just the course mirrored. I could be wrong.
To this scene.
Man, I don't know. The road and the dirt road goes around.
Yep, Bowser Jr. is on Mario Bros. Circuit and is driving in reverse. Yeah, he's going up the loop towards the left, where originally, and you can see it here in this Treehouse gameplay, you'll go up the loop into the.
I think it is reversed. Cause there was like the little race lamp shit. There was a lamp. There was a lamp the Bowser Jr. passed on his left side, and then on the same thing, I just saw it. The lamp was on the right side. I think it might be actually backwards.
Right, and you can even see with both of the maps that they are completely reversed. Now this doesn't seem to be part of a dedicated tour. For instance, this doesn't seem to be where they are finishing a race. In fact, it looks like they're either starting a tour or just straight up racing one lap. Either way, it looks like we'll be able to race on every single track in reverse, which is a huge deal. A lot of people don't care about mirror mode because it doesn't change the fundamentals of the track.
No, mirror mode is just not needed, alright? If I play fucking Mario Circuit in the same fucking way, I don't want to play it fucking backwards. Fuck that shit. It's like, you know what it's like? You know what it's like? It's like when your teacher when your teacher gives you a study guide for your test, and then you go to your test and you go to take your test and the test is nothing like the fucking study guide. Like you taught yourself how to do this problem a certain way. No, because this is apparently new shit. I don't know. I was curious. I didn't know what the fuck. It said huge new features. So I just wanted to see what the fuck it was about.
For the most part, you probably won't even know it half the time what you're doing if you're not really familiar with that track. It just changes whether you're turning right at this area or left at this area, but sometimes going in reverse can completely change a course. A lot of this was seen in the booster pass with lots of those Mario Kart Tour tracks. Maybe the last lap had you going around a track in reverse, and you'll know it drastically changed how that track worked. Let's just use Paris Promenade for an example. Going in reverse on that final lap opens up a whole separate section of the track, and it even has you driving into oncoming traffic of racers going the opposite direction still. And you can see they had to add an included ramp to go back over the waterfall in the opposite direction after passing the Eiffel Tower. Or let's take Sydney Sprint for an example. For instance, you'll be going back around the entire track for that last lap, including going back over that bridge, but as you remember, those ramps are only accessible on the way back. When you're going forward, you can't hit any of them. They're only facing the opposite direction. And then you'll eventually fly into the orchestra instead of out of it. But you get my point, and pretty much every single tour city track works this same way. And for a city track, you might not be able to notice too much of a difference as most of it is just roadways, but in something like Mario Kart World where each track looks to be pretty dynamic, I think this is going to change the tracks drastically. And the more I go back and now look at some of these tracks, it actually is very clear to me. Look at Wario Stadium. If you look closely at every single ramp, you'll notice as they go over them that they also have an opposite side with ramps and arrows going up in that direction as well. This goes for every little bump, hill, and ramp that you see. They all have an opposite side. Even the gigantic ramp here looks like it'll be accessed from the other side as well as you go down a very similar in height sized ramp. Now that was an example of one that would easily work. What about Faraway Oasis, where it looks like you jump off of a giant Pride Rock type of area into a lower section? How in the world would you get back up there? Is there going to be a flight section to fly to the top of the rock? Bowser's Castle looks like it'd work pretty well, besides the fact of you flying up a tube, you'll be flying down the thunderous tube down to the lower section. Maybe every section where you fly downward, this time you'll fly upward if you're doing it in reverse. Now that means as soon as you start the race, you'll be going up to this path that you're seeing right now from the castle in a reverse direction. And you can see where it looks like a giant ramp that leads down into the finish line, we'll probably be able to go up it and fly up to that section instead. But I will admit, some areas seem like they're just absolutely not made to work the same. Look at this section where you're flying
maybe
off
it'll be
into
some places.
Fortress, and you have to land into this broken tower. Clearly, there's no type of ramp that would launch you back the other way, unless they just added one, which could be the case, or maybe there's a separate direction that you would go in. Because it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to fly back into a cannon, unless they placed a cannon on the tower this time around, and it just kind of changes the track entirely. For instance, maybe there's some tracks that work like Tour, and if you're playing the course in reverse, there's a hidden part of the track that you'll get to race on that you wouldn't have done if you were playing it in the forward version. For instance, Peach Beach seems to have a hidden path as it shows like we'll be racing in the castle section up on the hill, but from the gameplay we've seen so far, we've always stayed near the beach like the original version, and we've even seen a map to show a different version of Peach Beach that we haven't seen so far. So maybe this is the reversed version. Toad's Factory would work fine, they would just have to find a way to get you back into the factory after you jump off that ramp, but if if you look real closely, it seems like the ramp is on a higher path, like maybe there's a lower path that you'll take to get into the factory going in reverse. And actually, if you look really closely, it seems like there's a green pipe down there. Now that could just be for the free roam, but I highly doubt it wouldn't be used in some capacity in reverse. Maybe it's not, maybe they'll just give us a ramp on the other side and shoot us up into the factory section here, but that pipe is mysterious. Once again, what's happening here is I think they're going to end up adding more ramps in order to get us up into the higher sections, but let's take Question Block Ruins for another example, which looks like exactly what I've been thinking. If you look at this section, there's a weird sidewall that looks like we'll definitely
so you gotta use the wall.
reach it, and it looks like it's wrapped around all the way to the other side. But something else that looks even more ominous is this weird triangle ramp thing on the corner of this path. Maybe all the racers will need to use it in order to jump back into the opposite direction when going in reverse in order to hit a secret track path that is only accessible in reverse. But maybe you're still not convinced. You're still wondering if there's going to be reverse tracks for every track. This is the track that fully convinced me and gave me my aha moment. This is a P-Switch mission that Nintendo posted on their Nintendo Today app. But if you'll notice, this is a whole separate section that's been developed specifically for this P-Switch mission? I don't think so. At first, I thought that was very strange for them to have this whole obstacle course put together for a 7-second mission. But if you look closely, this is definitely put together for a reverse section of this track. In reverse, it looks like we'll be taking a lower path this time. It looks like you can choose from riding on these side walls or just hitting the little cookie ramp in order to continue down the middle path. Now, maybe we're supposed to go up and actually fly through the goal ring in the actual race as well. Of course, there wouldn't be a goal ring. It'd just be where you're supposed to fly back onto the normal track. But I doubt this, because this wall jump technique looks like it's something that would be way too difficult for a normal average player to be able to do.
Nah,
and
skills
Nintendo
should get
themselves
better.
have stated that they wanted Mario Kart to still be accessible to all players with this game.
Yeah,
and that
get
the
better.
new trick system was for more, advanced players. You didn't have to use it if you don't want to. And that's why I'm
get
fully
better.
convinced that this bottom section that you see right here is the rest of this path. You can see it also branches into two separate paths, one going to the left and one going to the right that you can't see behind this pink wall. But it also looks like you can take that middle piece if you're good at wall jumping. As you can see, there is a track that goes down into the rest of the track ahead, and you can see the 3 tracks all merge together. That left lane, that right lane, and the middle lane all merge back into this side road. Or maybe that right lane actually doesn't do that. Instead, that'll be blocked off and you have to take the left lane. As you can see, it looks like they'll also block off the section going back into the long path leading to the rest of the world. You'll have to take this long grate all the way back around to the beginning. And you can see it even better in this scene right here, where you can see those 3 different paths. The one in the middle that you'll fly in from between the 2 original tracks, and you'll also see these 2 outside ones going through these donuts. So yes, I am fully convinced that every single track in this game is going to have a reverse mode that makes the track seem a lot different. At least for a lot of these tracks. Some probably won't change that much, like Moo Moo Meadows, and like you just saw with Mario Bros. Circuit in that Japanese commercial, it still looks fairly similar for the most part, but man, I love what I see so far. And if all 30 tracks are able to be done in reverse like this, oh man, that gives us like 60 tracks technically, plus every single track with the intermissions. We're gonna have over like 120, 130 different tracks. It's gonna be pretty good. And it would make so much sense if that's the big thing that Nintendo's been hiding for so long, is the fact that there's a lot more tracks than even we thought, where every single base track has lots of hidden paths and extra paths to make the track even feel more dynamic. But let me know in the comments down below what you think about this. Are you excited for reverse tracks, or did you really want
I don't know. I kind of don't
return?
care.
I don't know why, but
I kind of don't care. I mean, it's cool. Some tracks actually do look kind of interesting from like reverse, but I kind of don't care. I just don't like mirror mode, because literally it's just like it's like when your teacher gives you a fucking study packet to teach you how to do something, and then you go to fucking take the test. You're sitting down, you look at the test packet, and it's literally completely fucking different. Like, bro, I studied this, I studied long division, and now it's giving me fucking multiplication. What the fuck is this? Fucking stupid. World records. What the fuck? Oh man. I think I already saw this. That's crazy. That's crazy how fucking oh damn, I'm tired. It's crazy how fucking Nintendo started development of World in like fucking 2017. Was it 2017 or 2018? I don't know. Basically, as soon as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out, they started working on this game. That's fucking crazy. That's diabolical. And then they needed more time, and then they dropped, or supposedly they needed more time. They didn't. But the real reason they wanted to add booster cores is because they know Pauline was in the game. They're like, yo, we got to represent New York. You know what I'm saying? They had to represent the beautiful city of New York. So they're like, yo, we got to add the mayor in. You know, they couldn't just let the game exist without the mayor in the fucking game. So they were like, yeah, we got to add her in. But yeah, I don't know. That's pretty fucking interesting. That's pretty fucking interesting. Oh shit! Ah damn. Well, I'm not gonna stream super late today. I got work in the morning. I think what I got work in the morning tomorrow. I think Friday. But today and tomorrow. No. Today tomorrow. I'm not gonna be streaming super late. Oh. Holy fucking shit. Let me see what I'll watch later. Hold on. Loki, I gotta finish Black Lagoon. Is there anything else interesting? Black Lagoon's my fave, then you better stay. You better stay and stream. You came to the right guy. Yeah, bro, we're more than halfway done. Got any questions? Not yet. Not yet. I'm watching it for my first time. I will be watching it later though, so if you want to hang out, stay in the stream. Because I'm gonna be watching it probably a little bit later. You said halfway done? Yes, we're like on episode 7, I think. Actually, let me check. I can check right now. Hold on. What episode are we on? What is this? Episode 7? Are we on episode 7 or did we finish episode 7? I don't know. I think we might be. I think we're on episode 7. How did that one game go? I assume you beat it? No, I didn't beat it yet. I got a few more dates I gotta do. Every time about Honey Pop. I'm close. I'm getting close to beating it. Actually, I don't know. I don't know how close I am to beating it. Apparently, there's boss battles. I got spoiled, and there's boss battles in the game. I don't know what the boss battles are, but apparently there's boss battles in the game, which is making me a little bit nervous. But yeah, but I think let me see. Are we on episode? Let me see. Okay, we finished episode 7 because yeah, it's playing this shit. It's playing the outro. So you finished episode. You have 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Great episode. Yes, we saw Revy and Rock budding buds. So romantic. They're budding buds. It was so cute. Video game reviews. I have a bunch of SMT shit in here. Why do I have this in my watch? Why do I have my own video in my own watch later? The fuck? Two people in the cop car they might kiss, and they did. Yeah, they butted buds. They butted the buds of their cigarettes. It was so cute. Loki, I might watch this. I don't know. Doki Doki was kind of fire. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I gotta watch Black Lagoon. I don't want to be up super late. So let me just see. Let me calculate this shit real quick. How many? Let me calculate this shit. So we're on. That's 20, 40, 60. That's 1 hour. Then that's 20, 40. So we have an hour and like. Let me see. 20, 40, 60. That's 1 hour and then 20, 40. We have an hour and 40 minutes left of this shit. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. But if you're on YouTube and you want to watch Black Lagoon, if you want to watch my initial reaction to Black Lagoon, because this is like my first time watching it, I don't know what the fuck happens. For the most part, I don't know what the fuck happens. So, if you want to join us, come to the Twitch chat. Come to the come over to Twitch because I can't watch it on YouTube. Or else YouTube is gonna fucking delete my ads off the face of the earth because they don't like when I do that shit. Rowan, who the fuck is Rowan? Don't spoil it. Definitely no spoilers since Rowan was in episode 7. I don't know who the fuck that. I don't remember who the fuck that is. But yeah, I don't know. Like 10 seconds. No wonder I don't know who that is. Wait, is that the? Oh, the club owner. Oh, you got ads? Alright, I'll wait for you. Oh, he's a club owner. That's his favorite character? You like the pimp? Broly said his favorite character was a fucking pimp. But yeah, I don't know. I might start watching like if the anime's not too long. Like this one's fine, and like Hellsing is fine. It's like only 12 episodes. I don't know. I might start watching anime. You know, because I watch anime, but I don't really watch it that frequently. So I don't know. Maybe I'll start watching it on stream. Maybe every now and then. Maybe like once every week or some shit. I don't fucking know. I don't know. Maybe like I'll just put like your points at 420. That's awesome. Do I want to start watching it now? I got work in the morning. I ain't trying to stay up super late. I might go to bed at like 3:30. Even though I said I'm not going to bed super late, and I go to bed at like 3:30 a.m. That's pretty fucking late. Ravi, Roberta, and Balalawa. Balalawa is your favorite? You like the Russian woman? I didn't. Balalawa is your favorite. She fucking C4'd somebody. I'm almost home though. All right, I'll wait a little bit longer. We're gonna watch this shit.
I like to think that
the maid. You're skipping this shit. I'm gonna watch this shit. I actually want to see this shit.
opening the game for the first time instantly brings up the same warning you saw on the Steam page, so either Dan Salvato is really committed to this bit, or this game is actually real messed up. It's the latter! Upon agreeing to sell your soul to Monica, another disclaimer pops up saying, all characters are 18 years or older, like, yeah, okay. There is no way in hell you're gonna convince me that Natsuki's older than 12. Either way, you reach the very over-the-top title screen.
Dookie!
That intro is fire, I ain't gonna lie.
Okay, this song's a banger though. You then get to name the protagonist, and the story
Natsuki's
starts
not 18?
right away. The first act of DDL
Sayori is probably like fucking like 16 or some shit. I don't know.
DLC is pretty tame, which is what it needs to be. You assume the role of a high school boy who joins a literature club.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, right? Hold on.
Which is what it needs to be. You assume the role of a
Bro, I'm so used to Yuri just doing creepy ass shit that just her normal idol shit just looks creepy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so used to her just like looking weird and shit that her normal sprites look creepy.
a high school boy who joins a literature club because he just loves reading oh so much. But this slow start is crucial, as it's what lets the game develop that facade. The funny thing with DDLC is how it kind of overcompensates in a lot of ways to distract you from all those trigger warnings. Take the characters for example. Even in the release trailer, they literally advertise what trope they fall under. The first is Sayori, the daydreamer of the group. She's always in her own world, but wants nothing more than for everyone to be happy, and that's reflected in how upbeat she always is. Yuri is the shy one. She's really into fantasy, super insecure, constantly apologizing, and best girl. Natsuki is the exact opposite.
You know
Being singular,
ball!
she's extremely confrontational, always getting into fights, and watches Crunchyroll 24/7. And how could you forget Monica, the class star? She's the president of the club, and apparently the most popular girl in school. With these four, you kinda got all the bases covered, considering how heavily they represent their respective archetypes. It's beyond amusing seeing how they overcommit to the whole dating sim disguise. Tropes are notorious for getting extremely tiring, extremely fast. But here, the amplification of them adds this precious vibrance and comedy to their characters. It's almost like a parody, and I adore it. But we're forgetting someone. The protagonist. He doesn't have an in-game sprite, but he's supposed to look something like this. The thing I love about this guy is that he actually has a personality. He's patient, kind, but also a bit snarky, and maybe the biggest weeb on the planet. These attributes make for so many fun dynamics and interactions with other characters, something that's sure to keep the player engaged. The main setting of the game is the club itself. There are a couple instances in which you go elsewhere, but those are rare occurrences. That being said, the first portion of DDLC primarily consists of participating in club activities, aka sharing and reading literature. Checks out. But what about the gameplay? Being a visual novel, it's fairly sparse. It boils down to reading dialogue and the occasional decision here and there. So speedruns look something like this. However, you do have writing your own poems present as a fairly unique mechanic. All dating sims have to have some way for you—
Yo! Honey Peak! Honey Peak mentioned! Also, I fucking hate her, bro. I fucking hate her. If this is your favorite character, I want you're getting banned. You're getting fucking banned from my stream. I don't give a fuck. If she's your favorite character, you're getting banned immediately. I don't give a fuck. If Sarah's your favorite character, I am not friends with you. I want you to no, let me not say that. I almost said something crazy. Get the flamethrower. She looks kind of ill. She's literally supposed to be a weeb. She's a stinky weeb. Get her the fuck. Her voice is annoying. I would excuse her being a stinky ass weeb if her voice was like nails on a chalkboard. All right. We stand Jesse. I can sympathize with that. I can sympathize with that. Even though she's not my favorite. Yeah, you know why? Because I ain't doing that character until she's gonna be the last character I do. Fuck that shit. He said, okay, so she's what Trump calls a nasty woman. I guess, yes. She's like a Japanese filthy stinky weeb. But she likes manga and shit. But she's just annoying. She's supposed to be insufferable, I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
For you to pursue.
I don't play Honey Pop, I promise. Lies! Yes you do! You know ball. Don't be ashamed. Stand 10 toes down. You know ball. Also, by the way, Leilani's also pretty cool.
A certain character. For Okidoki Artichoke, you write the way into their hearts, meaning you scribe a certain type of poem depending on the girl you're going after. Of course, this game doesn't literally have you write poems. That would take skill. The writing itself is done through a cute little minigame after every club meeting. The goal is to please your crush by choosing all their favorite words. You'll know if you're doing well because their chibi model will jump for joy whenever you select a word they like. Yuri was my favorite, and since she's Cloud Strife's long-lost sister,
Wait, what? Wait, is this actually a video? What? This better not be an actual video. Don't be found out this is actually a video. What? Cloud Strife and Yuri siblings. What? Wait. What? If this is actually a fucking actual game theory video? Like, bro.
I chose all the edgy words. Writing these poems is what determines the character route you take, and who you end up romancing, further playing into the deception. And by romancing, I mean you chill with them at the club. Calm down, it's not like anything crazy happens. You usually just hang out, read a book, fall down again, whatever this is. Like seriously, I look away for 2 seconds and the Steam levels are through the roof. I know I already went over the characters pretty briefly, but I want to come back to them, because building relationships with these girls is what each of their routes are all about. The first, and my favorite to go through, was Yuri's. And hold it with your comments saying, wow, all it takes is an ample bosom for GPS to say they're an amazing character. Hey, that's not true.
Listen, bro. All the real ones know, that the Shy Girls are the best, alright? You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows the Shy Girls are the best, alright? Brooke from Honey Pop 2. Alright, okay, but Brooke, she's the shy one, right? She is. Is she not the shy one? What the fuck? What do you mean, right? Why are you saying it like that? Leilani. Okay. You know what? Okay, you know what? I'll give you that point. I will give you that point. Yes, hands down. Okay, but Brooke. She's not my top. Brooke is like my top 5. I like her, but it's like I don't know. Brooke is all right. Look, Brooke looks at Sarah kidding. Brooke's all right. I don't know. Like she's kind of just like a gold digger, kind of, isn't she? I mean, she has her own business, but she's kind of just a gold digger. I don't know. She's all right though. I kind of like Brooke. I just don't like her. Her voice is kind of eh. I can live with it. I mean, if it wasn't clear enough, she's a fucking gold digger. But even then, it's like I don't know. Her voice is kind of weird, but I don't really. She's all right. She's good enough.
I know it may look like there's a pattern.
The Amazing Character Hall of Fame, Pyra and Tifa.
But personality has always been the real deal. When I played Three Houses, you think I married Manuela? Mercedes? Hilda? No. Dorothea? Well, maybe. Let's pretend I didn't say anything, okay? Anyway, back to Yuri. Like I mentioned before, she's extremely timid and socially awkward, but that's what makes her relatable. Like, look at these sprites. That's literally me. It's adorable whenever she apologizes for nothing, and so wholesome seeing her begin to open up about herself.
Nah,
My
literally.
favorite moment with her is after she reads your third poem. Yuri explains to you how she eats by herself at lunch, but that's the way she likes it. It gives her time to read and get lost in her own world, with fictional friends that won't make fun of her for spacing out, acting like a know-it-all, or for her body. Reading these words tugged at my heartstrings, and I immediately sympathized with her. It's lines like these that fully connect you with the characters. But then you have Natsuki. Blech. Look, I'm sorry, but she's just not for me. Natsuki is essentially Yuri's counterpart and polar opposite. She's hot-headed, only reads manga, and is considerably rude. Being a tsundere, she obviously gets better, but the start with her is rough. If you ever show her a poem she doesn't like, she gets angry and makes you feel like the scum of the earth. If you ever show her a poem she does like, she gets jealous and still makes you feel like the scum of the earth.
Not dead ass. Okay, that's fair. That is fair. Because literally she does do that. Like, I'm pretty sure I gave her a poem she doesn't like, she just skips you. She says next, and she's fucking. That was still disrespectful, bro. She said next, and you immediately skipped her, bro. Tsundere aggressively stares at Audrey. Okay, comparing Natsuki to Audrey, that's nah. You can't do that. Natsuki. I'd rather take Natsuki over fucking Audrey. All right, Audrey's a stuck-up bitch. Natsuki is just a little bit of an asshole, just a little bit. She's like Audrey if she was like watered down to being like 5% of a bitch. Actually, a bit of a stretch. That's what I'm saying. It's a little bit of a stretch. Will beat your ass just for breathing. Yeah, Natsuki's an asshole. Don't get me wrong. Natsuki's a little bit of an asshole, but like Audrey is like really bad. Like she is stuck up. Natsuki at least has redeeming qualities.
In short, whenever there's an opportunity to instigate or disapprove, she takes it. She wants to get in trouble, she wants to start a fight. The last route you can take is Sayori's. The interesting thing about this one is that Sayori has always been the protagonist's best friend, ever since they were kids. With that being said, the main character's observant nature becomes especially prominent here. These scenes are less about reading, and more about the importance of the protagonist's existence in Sayori's life. They reminisce about old times, and it's just really sweet. Plus, Yuri and Natsuki actually get along a bit in this route. Like, hell yeah! Now I know what you're thinking. What about Monika? When you write your poems, her chibi sprite isn't there. You can never write a poem specifically for her, and well, she doesn't have a route. In fact, you know the least about her of the four of them. Yuri, Natsuki, and Sayori all express a certain adoration for something unique, but other than wanting to play piano, Monika has nothing going for her. She's portrayed as this enigmatic figure, and there's always a bit of distance between you. Some might fall for the red herring that, oh, she's the president of the club and most popular girl in the school. Of course she's not gonna talk to you, idiot. But I always suspected something was a bit off. She never felt human. Her personality was always suspiciously absent. And not like faking sick absent. I'm talking on the trip to the Bahamas absent. Like they're not even in the same country. And that's reflected through plenty of in-game details. Even something as subtle as the sprites were a huge red flag in my eyes. Sayori, Yuri, and Natsuki's artworks are all super expressive and emotive. Notice how they're all slightly positioned to the side as well.
That's almost, see, at low key, I noticed this, but I didn't really say shit. I subconsciously picked this up. Yeah, because I'm like, I noticed, like, yo, Monika's always facing towards you. All of them are also they're facing sideways. Like, besides, like, Sayori, but look, they're all facing sideways. But Monika, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was about Monika, but I knew this, but I couldn't word it correctly. I'm like, bro, like, Monika, the way she, like, stares into your soul. But I'm like, it's because she's unlike all of them, unlike the rest of them. She stares directly at you. She always faces you directly. She doesn't like turn to the side or whatever. She's always facing you.
To give the feeling of a third dimension, but Monika just stares right at you like she's taking a mugshot. It's so lifeless and flat, and this is like
exactly that's what I'm saying. Like all her sprites, she faces towards you. I think she only has like one sprite. She has like one sprite where like she's like facing sideways. But all her other sprites, she's facing towards you.
Damn near all of them, jeez. Except this one. I like this one. If you keep comparing her to the other girls, there's even more to consider. Like, take a look at something as simple as their names. Sayori, Natsuki, Yuri, all of them end with the letter I. Suddenly, Monika as a name seems pretty odd. And how about the designs? Obviously, they all have a school uniform, so their clothing is identical. But look who's the only one wearing black socks. Everything about her seemingly distances herself from everyone else. And the funny thing is, we haven't even considered her dialogue yet. If you know anything remotely spoilery about this game, then you know it likes to do a little thing called breaking the fourth wall. A lot. The first, and one of the tamer breaks, is Monika's second writing tip of the day. Sometimes you'll find yourself facing a difficult decision. When that happens, don't forget to save your game. You never know when you'll change your mind, or something unexpected might happen. Hey, thanks Monika, I appreciate it. Wait, hold up. Team Salvato continues to utilize Monika to embrace the fact that yes, this is a game. You see this again with Natsuki's squid joke, in which he tries to make a pun with Monika's name and squid. This wordplay only works in Japanese, which Monika notes, saying, that joke makes no sense in translation. It's a tad more subtle than the first, but definitely intentional as proven by Natsuki's confused expression and Monika's immediate redaction of the statement. But my absolute favorite of her smaller fourth wall breaks comes from after the protagonist mentions that most of the members of the club tend to write about sad things, to which Monika responds with, if everything was okay, we really wouldn't have anything to write about, would we? Humans aren't two-dimensional creatures. Two-dimensional, huh? Like a drawing from a visual novel? If you think I'm tripping, the protagonist literally corrects her and she breaks a sweat like always. What I love about these moments is the balance they manage to achieve. They're subtle enough to be woven into the conversation, but still unnerving enough to set off some small alarms. And the best part is that the game is absolutely littered with these. If we keep moving through the narrative, you find Monika's actions becoming becoming more and more questionable. Take the day you present your third poem, for example. Right off the bat, the protagonist finds Sayori sitting alone at a desk, quite the contrary to her usual social nature. He checks up on her, but only for her to tell him that, oh, it's nothing. She even accuses him of worrying too much about her. Huh, that's weird. Well, let's talk to Monika about it. It is kinda her responsibility being the president and all. What does she have to say? I can't say I've noticed anything about her.
Exactly.
Oh, you think you're real slick, don't you? I'll have you know, you won't fool a trained detective like myself. I played Luigi's Mansion 3. I killed Polterkitty. We all know this is whack as hell, but Monika does end up speaking to Sayori. Obviously, we can't trust her, so we decide to visit Sayori the next day. She's a tad hesitant to open up at first, but eventually does confess how she suffered from severe depression her whole life. Most days, she can't find a reason to get out of bed, eat, go to school, or even make friends. Sayori feels so worthless and doesn't want anyone to waste their emotions or caring on her. She just wants them to be happy and not burdened by her own issues. It's even more heartbreaking to see how the developers build on Sayori's depression. She finds you spending time with either Yuri or Natsuki and insists it makes her happy. All she ever wanted was for the protagonist to make new friends and have fun with them, which was exactly what she was witnessing. But instead of the joy she longed for, all she experiences is pain, as if her heart was splitting in half. All of this has made her feel that much less significant to the world, and now more than ever, she wishes she could
damn roach.
Her dialogue alone is more than capable of conveying this internal pain to the player. If I wasn't here, then you wouldn't have to waste your sympathy on me. You wouldn't have to put up with me being so selfish. Monika was right. Wait, Monika? This is where the president of the literature club turns into a threat. With this reaction, I think it's more than safe to assume that whatever talk they had here only made things worse. And intentionally. But screw her. This is about Sayori. I've already gushed about it a bit, but this scene was such a tearjerker, and the protagonist's words of support make it all the more emotional. You even get the choice to confess to her, and either way, the conversation fortunately ends in a far more comfortable place, with feelings of bliss and security. Her depression seems to be considerably more manageable with the protagonist by her side, and things are looking up, so you each go home and prepare for the festival the next day. Okay, so starting now, I'm going to begin discussing all the unsettling, creepy, horror elements of Doki Doki Literature Club. This is where the major spoilers start coming in, so if you still want to play this game blind,
I already finished it.
Now. Alright, let's resume. Our main character returns to school the next day, and finds only Monika at the club. The situation in itself is fairly ordinary, but wait. Where's the music? The game suddenly becomes dead quiet, an extremely jarring shift from the usual upbeat tunes you have in the background. I had to check that I didn't accidentally mute anything. Building off of the alarming silence, you then take a look at the pamphlet containing the poems the members would be sharing to promote the club. Natsuki and Yuri's are apparently the same from rehearsal, but then we flip to Sayori's page and find the words "get out of my head" repeatedly scrawled over the paper. Rightfully unsettled, the protagonist sprints to Sayori's house. He knocks on her door. "Sayori, wake up, dummy." There's no response. Feeling as if he doesn't really have a choice, he hesitantly opens the door, only to find that Sayori has taken her own life. Utterly speechless, he tries to process the situation, but just like the player, he remains in disbelief. But let's rewind a tad. What did Monika say before we left campus? Well, for some reason, she's fully informed on your heart-to-heart with Sayori the previous day, and then goes to tell you, you should take a little responsibility for her. I mean, especially after your exchange with her yesterday, you kinda left her hanging this morning, you know? Oh my god. This text box left my jaw hanging wide open. I looked like a freaking Mr. Beast thumbnail. It's such a disgusting line, hidden right there in plain sight. Honestly, big props to Team Salvato. It makes me want to vomit, but it's damn genius. But Monika does not get the free pass. Don't think I'm done with you yet. This girl has gone from strange but tame to downright insensitive, and we haven't even seen the half of it. It's at this point in the campaign where DDLC separates itself from other dating sims and cutesy to horror games, and it's all because of self-awareness. Instead of resuming the same storyline after Sayori's death, the game ends and then reboots itself. You find yourself at a familiar title screen, except somebody is a bit confused. Upon starting a new save file, the game seems the same. That is, until it starts speaking in wingdings. Essentially, whenever Sayori is supposed to show up, the story just doesn't know what to do. That's why crap like this happens. This is obviously unplayable, so the narrative begins to seemingly rewrite itself, but as if Sayori never existed. This isn't traditionally scary, but it's just as, if not more effective. DDLC doesn't need a spooky environment or elaborate jump scares to be horrific. Instead, it takes something normal and keeps twisting it bit by bit until you squirm in your chair and feel severely uncomfortable. And I'm sure you know by now that this all comes back to the poster girl herself. Since Sayori isn't there to take you to the literature club, Monika glitches herself into the classroom and drags you there herself. Most of the events play out in identical fashion, but here and there, they'll make sure to keep you on your toes. Whether it's with arbitrary cursed text with an overly thick outline, staggering amplifications of dialogue, intentional glitches, or just a whole lot of Monika. Most are obvious, but then others are just hiding in plain sight.
Yep,
and
toxic just like
that's
you.
the most effective way to go about it. Here I present to you this background art of the DDLC classroom. Notice anything?
Oh,
Well, what if I zoomed in? Cause man, it is not subtle in the slightest. And dude, what they do with the music is just so good.
Yeah, it's slightly off key.
It's suddenly off pitch without warning, and it just makes you squirm. At this point, everything is quite literally turned
Not
up
toxic.
to 11. And you'll see why. Considering how much damn text is in this game, Team Salvato would be foolish not to take advantage of this. That being said, they aren't fools. Quite the opposite, actually. We've already seen how expertly they did it with Monika in the first act, but we start to find those moments of trepidation leaking their way through the other girls' words as well. When Yuri described her book titled The Portrait of Markov
whatever
in
you say,
Act
buddy.
1,
I
it
believe
was a
you.
bit dark, but nothing too crazy. Basically, it's about this girl in high school who moves in with her long-lost sister. She gets targeted by these people who escaped from a human experiment prison, and while her life is in danger, she needs to desperately choose who to trust. No matter what she does, she ends up destroying most of her relationships, and her life starts to fall apart. A bit on the edgier side for sure, but nothing overly disturbing. That's not the case second time round, because it's like 10 times darker. Basically, it's about this religious camp that was turned into a human experiment prison, and the people trapped there have this trait that turns them into killing machines that lust for blood. And the facility gets even worse, and they start selectively breeding people by cutting off their limbs and affixating them to— oh, that might be a little bit of a spoiler. Oh,
What?
You don't say. Even that silly argument between Natsuki and Yuri goes totally off the rails. They're both so much more aggressive and insensitive with every insult. Natsuki accuses Yuri of cutting herself. Yuri calls her toxic, even swears. Guys, Yuri swears! The music starts speeding up, static starts creeping in, the camera moves closer and closer and closer. Guys, what is happening? Natsuki said something rather interesting. Whoa, be careful, you might cut yourself on that edge, Yuri. Oh, my bad. You already do, don't you? If we have learned anything about this game, it's that metaphors don't exist. Take everything you hear literally, and it's not any different here. We already knew Yuri was into knives back in Act 1, but it was fairly innocent. She appreciated them for their beauty and as a form of art, but now it's straight up masochistic. You catch her in the hallway with cuts all over her forearm, and let's just say it's not a pretty sight. However, the more noticeable change in her demeanor is how much more obsessive she's become. You show her your poem one day, and she really likes it. Like, really likes it. Giga Ultra Turbo likes it. And that in itself is fine. Pretty harmless, actually. But then she starts going on about giving herself paper cuts with it and masturbating to it, and I'm just like, what? Okay, that's fine. Let's just pretend that never happened. Instead, we'll simply enjoy her poem. Oh, and you've endowed it with your scent? What the hell? Natsuki's definitely not as bad, but not in the clear either. She doesn't urinate on her own poems, but she does beg you to play with her until her head snaps. Yikes. The sad thing is, it seems to be totally involuntary for the both of them. They're in utter shock when they come to their senses, and it's truly disheartening. With each instance, these girls reach a new level of unlikableness, and it's not even their fault. Well, not all of them, because taking a look at those who have remained normal, it's just Monika. But normal is a very strong word. Because while she doesn't have a knife fetish and hasn't become blatantly yandere, she remains incredibly suspicious. If you thought she was indiscreet in Act 1, then boy are you in for a wild ride. Whenever Yuri and Natsuki have their little episodes, Monika pulls you away and says, if this makes you want to spend less time with the others, then that's fine. I'd be happy to spend it with you instead. Like, damn, that's not very nice. Team Salvato's goal with Monika here is to make you feel trapped, and that starts kicking in right about now. Everything that happens finds its way back to Monika. Just Monika. And the way they implement it is just so uniquely brilliant. In Act 1, we had a bit of fourth wall breaking in the form of dialogue. But what if we went beyond that? When Yuri's having one of her moments in the hallway, a little someone starts to slowly turn down the opacity until she's in front of the text box. Come on, Monica, that's a bit rude. Can't you see I'm trying to read here?
Exactly.
What makes DDLC so special is how it messes with the actual mechanics of the game. Obviously, they aren't super complicated, but they still manage to integrate their horrific fun. The scene in which you have to choose who to spend the weekend with plays out in similar fashion to the rest of this act. It's more aggressive, and they're all going for each other's throats, fighting over poor Giga Chad. But when you go to make the selection, you're presented with the illusion of choice, which is so sick, by the way.
Yeah, the
if your
illusion
jaw
of
didn't drop
choice.
at this part, I don't know what to tell you.
Nah,
The
dead
best
ass. I
part
was
about
like,
all this is how Natsuki and Yuri start catching on to Monica. Yuri keeps mentioning how she just wishes they could have a bit of privacy, because Monica's always listening. Natsuki's final poem is literally a cry for help, in which she's genuinely concerned for Yuri's mental health. She asks you to convince her to speak with a therapist, because you're the only one she talks to for some reason. Yeah, I wonder why. And then she touches
Yeah, I
on how
wonder why.
dismissive Monica's been about everything. And whatever you do, don't let her know I wrote this. It is so terrifyingly enthralling seeing the events of this game unfold, and that's why it's so damn good. You're constantly on edge, and that feeling just builds and builds. So with that being said, what does the climax look like? Let's take a look, because it does not disappoint in the slightest. So after you choose to spend the weekend with Monica against your will, the other girls, aren't happy, which is fine, until Yuri pulls out the 180 and asks Monica if she's ever considered killing herself. Natsuki is rightly frightened, and she and Monica
bro. Yo, she pulled the she pulled out the low tier gun. She's like, have you considered killing yourself? You should kill yourself now. And give someone else a piece of that oxygen in this blue trap bubble. Like she pulled out the low tier gun out of nowhere, bro. What the fuck? Also, those eyes are fucking terrifying.
Somebody like you deserves to be hit in the street by a
Dead
fucking
ass.
moving bus. It's people like your ass that doesn't deserve to live. You deserve to be destroyed. You're on Earth for literally no fucking reason. You deserve to die. Your soul does not deserve to be on this planet.
Dead ass. That's literally what Yuri pulled out, bro. He said, you don't deserve to be on this planet. How about you just take yourself out? Like, that was complete out of left field. What the fuck?
leave the club promptly, leaving us all alone.
Your life literally
Great.
is as valuable as a summer. I'm just gonna stump you. You're gonna keep coming back. I'm gonna seal up all my cracks. You're gonna keep coming back. Why? Because you keep smelling the syrup. You worthless bitch ass nigga. You're gonna stay on my dick until you die.
Dead ass.
Shattered with a track of breathy, creepy giggles, promptly establishing the atmosphere. Yuri makes her confession to you, but a normally sweet and innocent act is made appalling by both wording and magnitude. She talks about having suppressed her feelings for so long, but now she's finally laying down her guard and embracing her feelings. And unfortunately, that's not a good thing, because now she wants to pull open my skin and crawl inside. Doesn't that sound perfect? Believe it or not, no, not really. And now I have to make a decision. What the hell, game? Something we should know about this game by now is that your decisions don't matter. It's basically Undertale. So regardless if you accept her confession, she will dreadfully and gruesomely take her own life in front of you. And if that wasn't bad enough, you have to look at her corpse for a whole weekend. Obviously not a full 48 real life hours, but it certainly feels like it.
Yeah, it does.
Fast forwarding through all the wingdings takes an eternity. And as disgusting as this detail is, I have to mention it. While the lighting changes to inform you of the time passing, that same aspect is displayed through the darkening of the blood and desaturation of her eyes as the life gradually leaves her body. It's painful, but so immersive. When Natsuki returns to the classroom the next day, she acts like a regular person would to seeing the corpse of their friend. Screams, panics, and vomits. But Monica, she laughs!
Bro.
Well, what a shame. Excuse me?
Yeah,
Giving
that's
up on
crazy.
maintaining any discreetness, she straight up says, I didn't realize the script was broken that badly, and proceeds to delete yuri.chr and natsuki.chr. Your game restarts itself again, and now it looks like this. Wow, so many options. This is the third act of the game, and now Monica isn't talking to the protagonist, but the player directly, and confirms this with, do you actually go by GPS or something? I never entered GPS into this game, but she manages to find this information by looking at the account name of whatever platform you're playing on. And
He
it's
said, why delete me? Well, he said, why delete me? I was normal as fuck. You sure about that? I don't know. I don't know about saying normal. I mean, unless you mean the toxicity. Yeah, the toxicity was normal.
Absolutely brilliant. Throughout the entire narrative, Monica is breaking the fourth wall, but just through universal dialogue. All of these lines mean the same thing to every player, but climaxing that by having her know information outside.
Is it what the fuck is that supposed to mean? Yes, I'm normal. Define normal. I said define normal.
Side of the game is just so perfectly scary, especially for the superheroes, man. They must be shaking. Your one-sided discussion with her mainly consists of Monica revealing the truth behind the absurdness that is Doki Doki Literature Club. Essentially, she knows it's a game. Gee, never would have guessed that.
Damn,
and the reason all the girls were acting up is because she has the ability to tamper with their files and make them as unlikable as possible, eventually driving them to their limits. But why would she do this, you may be asking? Because she loves you. Yeah, don't worry, it's not supposed to make sense. Like, are you seriously telling me that if you had the power to alter the nature of other people, you would increase their depression, obsessiveness, and how much they were abused at home until they killed themselves just because they were spending more time than you liked with your crush? No! She speaks of the pain that comes with knowing that she was essentially living in a simulation and how hard it was knowing that she was totally alone. This isn't the greatest incentive I've ever seen, as it's not super relatable, but it's nice that something is there, so we can attempt to sympathize with this psychopath. But it's okay, because that's not Monica's purpose. She doesn't need to be a well-written character. She just needs to break the fourth wall. So love it or hate it, Monica is what makes this game. She's the reason anyone talks about DDLC, because she makes it unique. Most horror games consist of you running away from a threat, and it's obviously pretty effective. Doing everything you can to escape 9'6" Lady Dimitrescu.
Oh my gosh, the Dommy Mommy
put you in a
vampire?
comfortable spot, unless you're Markiplier. But the difference with Doki Doki is that you don't even have the opportunity to run. Monica quite literally has you cornered with nowhere to go. So at this point, she seems to have finally gotten her happy ending, in the biggest air quotes you've ever seen. She'll be with you forever because there is nothing left. There's no dialogue options for you, your character doesn't have any lines, all you can do is just sit and listen. And you wouldn't believe how easy it was to delete Natsuki and Yuri. I mean, there's a folder called characters right in the game directory. Oh, you really shouldn't have told me that. This is one of, if not the most creative way I've seen a game do a final boss, if you will. You have to manually access the files yourself. And well, hit that delete button on Monica's folder. But the creativity of this method and how well it ties into the main theme of the game is simply ingenious. As soon as her file is deleted, the game responds instantly as Monica glitches out of existence. In her final words, she asks for help, which no. And then she tells us, "You completely, truly make me sick. Goodbye." Oh, I'm the sick one now. But let's remember that Monica is basically God. So before she's truly gone, she decides to bring back everything in an effort to make everyone happy. So the game reboots one last time with a brand spanking new title screen. This is Act 4, where Sayori is the president of the Literature Club. And well, Monica isn't anywhere to be seen. There's none of those abrupt glitches either, so it really does feel like a standard dating sim, just without Monica to twist everything up. It's so relieving to see Sayori, Yuri, and Natsuki being their true selves again, and overall, just a great way to end the game. Sayori says thanks for joining the Literature Club, and it's just a lot of wholesome fun again. I wanted to thank you for getting rid of Monica. Oh, come on! All good things must come to an end. So now Sayori is self-aware for some reason. And now she's bringing us back to that room from before, doesn't know anything about social distancing, and is deleted. Monica is still alive somehow, and ultimately decides that there is no happiness after all, and destroys the game for good, which is probably for the best. The screen darkens, and all we're left with is static. But then, we hear a small voice breaking through.
Can you hear me?
It's Monica. I love these little lines of dialogue. They finally breathe some humanity into Monica, and her character becomes so much more sympathizable now that she feels a bit more like an actual person. It's not much, but hearing a voice that acknowledges imperfection and presents relatability is so nice to see after her barely having a character throughout the whole game. Plus, this song is a bop.
Every day, I imagine a future where I can be with you.
Really, all the songs in the game are just remixes.
Of the game and add some super cute lyrics on top of it. I love it when games do this. Leitmotifs in general are cool as hell, but lyrics make them oh so special. This game has had its fair share of messed up things, but it's incredibly gratifying to come full circle, back to Act 1 in simpler times. The player can finish DDLC without having nightmares, as they've ended on a happy note. They can put down the game saying, "I'm glad I played that." But wait a minute, the title of the video is The Horrific Ingenuity of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. So let's talk about the additional content, which isn't technically DLC, but let's just pretend it is. The Doki Doki Literature Club downloadable content, or the DDLC DLC. The first major upgrade is this incredible box art. The original looked like this. It's a recreation of the title screen and pretty cute, but I find it just a bit bland. I assume Team Salvato realized this as well, so they made this masterpiece. I remember seeing this for the first time and laughing, not only because this free indie PC game was getting a console port and a physical release, but the fact that it's literally just Monika, which is hilariously thematically perfect. I also feel like this is legitimately the best official Monika art we've gotten. Since she's not a romanceable character, we never got these high quality artworks like the rest of the girls in the base game. You've got her sprites, which are just 2 poses with different facial expressions, her chibi models, and her in Act 3. That's not to say that these are done poorly, but this one just blows them out of the water. Monika looks a bit more lively, which makes a lot of sense.
I don't care, you're not hacking my Switch, Monika. Why would you want to do that? Also, I don't think I played the downloadable content. I don't know if, because the one the shit, let me see. Actually, I could check real quick. The shit I got, it was technically, whatchamacallit, it was pirated. I pirated that shit, so I don't know if it came with it. Let me see.
Sense when taking into account the new side stories introduced with this version of the game.
But I did play the side stories though. I did play the alternate shit.
We'll get to those
because they said the alternate stories had nothing to do with the fucking they had nothing to do with the main story.
Later, because inside the box there's a bunch of extra goodies. Dan Salvato even did his own unboxing video. Like, let's go! You've got a Literature Club member card, which you can bet I filled out, a soundtrack download card, a poem, standees, stickers. Dude, stickers! All of this for half the price of a regular Switch game too. Like, that's so cool. We stan Dan. That being said though, the home screen icon is a bit lame. Like, why isn't Monika's face plastered over this thing as well? Being a PC port, there's gonna have to be a few changes so it can actually work on consoles. Some necessary and some unnecessary. Like adding autosaves, which thanks I guess? I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like if you're playing this game, you're probably old enough to have the competence to manually save, but who knows. I also want to touch on the font size. Why is it so small now? I couldn't tell you if I wanted to. It's not a horrible change, but it was fine on PC. Most are gonna play this on a TV or monitor, so it's not the end of the world, but keep in mind this thing is on Switch, and I don't imagine this is a lot of fun to read in handheld mode. Unfortunately, this is one of the more trivial changes. That's not to say the console version is unplayable. It's still the same phenomenal experience, but I do think it's slightly inferior due to a few of the modifications they had to make. The mouse dragging section was one of the most mind-blowing mechanics of the original release of DDLC, and she basically pulls your mouse towards her name, making it extremely difficult to click on Yuri or Natsuki. Like I mentioned before, the console port adjusts this section so whatever name you have selected is replaced with Monika.
Damn.
It's an admirable fix, but it was never going to be the same.
Damn, that's not the same, bro. What the fuck? That's not the same. That's actually sick. What the fuck? She'll pull your mouse towards her fucking name. Wow. Yeah, that's actually so cool. I mean, her changing their switching their names around is cool as well, but it doesn't have the same effect as her manually taking control of your mouse and trying to place it on her name. That's crazy.
The subtle physical battle of the cursor is all the more exemplary from a game design perspective. The next one takes place in Act 3, and not every player is going to come across this. The only way you'd actually know of this is if you're a YouTuber or a streamer, or have watched a Let's Play of one. In short,
I experienced this too. She actually calls out if you're fucking streaming. She's like, oh, I didn't know you didn't tell me you're doing this for all these people. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, how the fuck she knows I'm fucking streaming?
Monika can detect if OBS or XSplit are running, and will respond with, hold on a second, you're recording this, aren't you? Which is so...
What? Lagging? What the fuck? Are we lagging? Yo, what's the lag?
Or have watched a Let's Play of one. In short, Monika can detect if OBS or XSplit are running, and will respond with, hold on a second, you're recording this, aren't you? Which is so extraordinarily clever and terrifying. Exactly what you want in Act 3. And if that wasn't enough, you get one of the funniest jump scares ever. She says she'll do a trick for the folks at home. So
yeah, she fucking jump scares. Yo, that shit was so stupid.
The camera slowly zooms in, and you just sit in fear anticipating for something to happen, but nothing does. And then she gets you mid-text box, and geez, it is so funny seeing other people's reactions to this as they fall into a false sense of security, only to face their inevitable rude awakening.
I'm just kidding. I can't do anything after all. Did you get? Oh my fucking God, are you kidding me?
The reason I bring this up is not only because it's brilliant as hell, but because it's not in the Plus version. Which, to be fair, isn't Team Salvato's fault. It's Monica's, for being an idiot that can't detect my capture card. The last, and maybe the most major change, was the desktop. Obviously, consoles don't have a functioning desktop with folders and files that apply directly to applications, so they had to work around this. Their solution was an in-game desktop, which, yeah, works, but it's not nearly as effective. It's so much scarier knowing that Monica has a presence on your computer outside the game, and you don't exactly get that feeling when the desktop is within the game. Again, this is nobody's fault. I just think DDLC is truly at home and shines its brightest on PC. On the bright side, this is probably the best way they could have implemented it, and they turned it into a sort of menu, which is fairly creative in itself. You can access artworks, music, poems, backgrounds, and wallpapers too, so at least you got some form of customization to make it feel a little bit more personal. There's also a bunch of emails to unlock, which are subject to a ton of speculation for all the Doki Doki lore enthusiasts out there. Not for me, but it's cool that it's there. The final and most substantial addition to DDLC Plus are the side stories. These are unlocked by going through different routes in the base game, but that's not to say it's more of the same. To be honest, it's hard to consider these a game as you don't actually make any decisions. In fact, the protagonist isn't even involved, it's just reading. From what I gather, these side stories take place in an alternate timeline where Monica isn't God and without Giga Chad ever joining the club. Or at least before he does. All of them are surprisingly wholesome and educational actually. Each is named after the life lesson they teach, and tell stories of how two of the characters—
Okay, so I didn't lock the other ones. I don't know, I might have to play and try to get the others. I don't know how the fuck you get those other ones though. I only got 4 of them. I only did like 4 of the side stories. I don't know, maybe I gotta play again and get like, I don't know, do other shit.
Establish and improve their friendship with that value. I wasn't sure what to expect going in, and it certainly wasn't this, but that's not to say I'm disappointed. I'm not going to go over every single one, but I'll touch on the first so you have an idea of what they're like. Trust is the start of the timeline and one of my favorites. It starts with Monica addressing the club, until we realize that nobody's actually there. She's trying to start her own club, but every day, nobody comes in. That is, until Sayori joins. It's so bizarre seeing Monica express this self-doubt, have an actual character, and properly interact with the rest of the cast. But I'm all for it. The dialogue in these conversations are so pure and adorable. Seeing them brainstorm ideas for club activities and how to recruit new members is loads of fun. I love how one of their ideas is to hunt for people reading books. So they find Yuri, slip a flyer onto her desk, and it freaking works. But they always make sure to integrate a conflict the girls have to get past to strengthen their bonds. Monica finds out about Sayori's depression, and suddenly feels extremely guilty for being selfish about her vision of the club and not caring about Sayori's feelings. They end up writing poetry together to express those feelings and start to build trust in one another. Sayori becomes open about her depression for the first time in her life, and Monica is there for her. It's beautiful seeing Monica give her the words she so desperately needed to hear. This isn't putting up with you,
for fun
it's
and
being
for
your
sport.
friend. Now the soundtrack of the base game wasn't bad by any means, but the new songs are so much better, making moments like these all the more special. Heck, this song's even called Hug Energy. Is that not the coolest thing in the world? Overall, Doki Doki Literature Club Plus is a pretty generous package. While I believe the original game is very much meant to be played on PC, it still works here. The base game is so jam-packed with horrific ingenuity that a few changes aren't going to decrease its quality too much. Either way, I'm grateful for its existence, as I'm not sure how long it would have taken for me to play it again otherwise. There are plenty of things I didn't talk about here. I think I covered all the important stuff though, and the main things that make DDLC so special. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at LittleMoniX3. I'm very popular and have many followers, so make that big number go bigger. I'll keep this outro brief as this video is way longer than I expected it to be, but you know I have to say thank you, especially if you made it this far. I love making these videos and it's amazing when other people love them as well. I look forward to an incredible 2022 with y'all, and I'm beyond excited for what's to come.
I didn't even yo, the fact that Monica has an actual Twitter account, I don't know, Monica might be dead, bro, because I checked Monica's Twitter account. Bro, she hasn't posted shit since like fucking like 2 years ago, I think, or a year or two ago. Like, I don't know, Monica might be dead. Her last post was literally 2023. It was like September. It was the 30th of September 2023. She ain't posted shit since. But I didn't know. I didn't expect her to have a whole Twitter account. That's crazy. Maybe she died in the concentration. Floyd, what's your obsession with you in concentration camps? What the hell? Death camps? I'm just wondering why you keep mentioning concentration camps. This game made me fear my computer was fucked. So joke's on you. When I downloaded this and pirated it, I know this game is free, but I don't know at the time. And so yeah, leave it to your imagination what happened. Because I'm the major. You're a major. You a robot. You're a bot. You're a bot. Left her hanging is absolutely diabolical. The third ever calls you by your real name should call me administrator. Morgan mentioned in Act 3 that she did try to reprogram the game to make her an option in the game, but she wasn't good at programming, hence all the glitches. Just making mistakes. She also mentioned that she did get better at programming. She noted that for some reason the game seemed to be programmed to make sure she was never an option. So she felt like it was easy to get rid of all the other options so the game would be forced to give her a chance. If only it worked, I would have 100% chose her path. I mean, there's a purist mod. If you haven't looked at it yet, I find it, even if I feel Yuri didn't get as much as a root in it as she should have. A purist mod? What the fuck is that? Maybe learned that Monaco began the monitoring protocol monitor. What? Learned that Monaco began as a progress monitoring program called Monitor Kernel Access gained sentience and awareness of player making things happen. Gradually made herself a character, giving herself a name she admits, and then the main game isn't even Japanese, using the Moni K and A from her original name, and inserted herself into the life sim where she was used to watch over. And has been killing these same girls and destroying their simulated world over and over. Created by MC Kun out of Sayori's vague mention of a male childhood friend, intending him to be a vessel for her to get close to. Finally trapped this user she knows nothing about, but has developed a strange crush on nonetheless, or more accurately, she's in love with the fact that someone real is there. Since, from her perspective, the whole setting and the other girls are all fake and is driving her mad. Is also the whole purpose of this rebuild of the setting and being a dating sim visual novel. That's right, after all the touching scenes and character growth unlock took place, Monica still destroyed and restarted everything. This is why MC Kun is nameless, faceless cipher with a very basic dating sim protagonist personality. Monica knew about as much as Sayori's friend as she knows about the player, i.e. nothing, and she always tended to remove him from existence once his true purpose had been served. What the fuck? That was a big ass fucking paragraph. Monica was always part of the game. She didn't make herself a character. It was designed that way because the simulation was meant to test what would happen to MSC Simulated Universe if a real person in it got an elevated access level. It's also unclear whether Monica or I made MC, but yeah, MC is clearly a superficial program meant to allow the player to interact with the game. Otherwise, Monica doesn't actually have the resources to create something that would last a full virtual machine research, so it must have been at least partially we could have gotten help from Monica. He loves the player, but not like she doesn't love you as a person. She loves what you are, reality. To her, everything around her is fake. Sayori, Natsuki, Yuri, none of them are real to her. She desperately is grasping for anything real. And she's given that in the form of you. It's like she's trapped in a dream and you're the only way to wake up. That's actually really interesting. What the fuck? I never thought about it like that. So she's not really like in love with you, but she's loved like how you represent, I guess, reality. That's the whole point of the character, and really, if you think on it, it starts to become more and more relatable. Not in a literal sense. The literal sense comes when you relate to her in the fact like that like Sayori, she's got a severe case of mental illness, except it's not depression, it's schizophrenia. In her case, the delusions just happen to be true. But almost the entirety of the mainline Yuso game events could be explained by Monica developing low-tier psionic powers, manipulate people's emotions that she's struggling to control, alongside sudden onset of severe schizophrenia, going up to mid-tier for the occasional mind wipe or puppeteering of a character. It all could explain also why she's ready to fall for any people who would be willing to play the game. She isn't really in love with you for being who you are, but rather what you are, the closest thing to something real. You'd even argue that she may not actually feel love, but was programmed to use love to get in touch with people. It ultimately doesn't justify her actions on Sayori and the rest, but it does give a proper understanding of who she is, an unhinged creature who wants to get in touch with the world she wants to belong to, at all costs. Even makes it sadder when you consider that she used to be a great person, and the extra cutscenes like Trust, where she comforts Sayori, which is completely opposite to the main game. She's ready to make the problem worse just to get kicked out of the competition, implying that at one point she eventually lost her interest in her old friends to the point of preferring something who may never really share the same love with her. Yo, this is so deep. What the fuck? This is so deep. Breached the fourth wall and allowed her to step into our world. She saw the player as a way to enter a world of infinite choices which were so lacking in gameplay, but she failed to reckon that every choice made and acted upon carries some form of consequences with it, for good or bad. Everyone here is only experts on mental illness. After story mode, and even if she tries to make it seem like she actually loves you in the mode, it's just a way for her to manipulate you into trying to bring it into reality. Whenever she mentions going on a date or something romantic, she mentions leaving her reality and entering yours. There's even one bit of dialogue that unsettles me. I'm not sure what it is, but she said, "I can't wait to be in your reality," or something. Or something along the lines of that. But that bit of dialogue deletes itself and turns into, "I want to be with you forever," or something like that. Not to be a simp or anything, but if Monica wants to use me as a means of getting into my reality, I'd happily oblige. Down bad. Theory on how Monica is trying to help them, which, let's face it, all of us who watch the game theory knows is just a theory out the window. You take everything on send it back. The sad thing is she did love the club members, but none of it was real, drove her actually insane. That is true. She does admit, because she could have deleted their files. She didn't delete their files, even though she claims she did. She didn't really delete it. She just moved it to a different folder, or she put them in the recycling bin. Basically, she deleted them but didn't delete them. Like she put them in the recycling bin but didn't clean the recycling bin and throw them out. So she just restored them back into the game. I don't know. Yo, this is fucking interesting. What the fuck? Why is this comment section so interesting? So he says, "I'm confused." Monica explicitly states that she doesn't care what you look like, boy or girl, or your real life interests, meaning that she either had no preferences and would therefore love everyone, or she doesn't really care. There's the third possibility that she loves you for who you are in the game, as the love is blind philosophy would allow her past opinions of you to overrule her new discoveries about you. But for a faceless protagonist, it would make no sense if she initially fell in love with the player due to his good looks. This leaves the the main character in-game personality as the only possible explanation as to why Monica could ever truly love the player. Thanks to what I've already established. And Monica is and always has rigged everything, every single choice. You cannot save Sayori because Monica won't let you. So there's no course of action that lets you save Monica's rival. And Yuri is programmed to kill herself regardless of what you do. Natsuki gets outright deleted. So regardless of how you feel, everyone Monica sees as a threat dies, and you are left with no choice in several situations. with text choices literally making Monica the only option. This means that there is no possible way for Monica. Monica loves you for your personality in game. If anything, she loves the character she has created and likes you because you're made to play the part of her unwilling love interest. Between all the points I made, I just don't see what you mean. Found the fact that Sayori becomes self-aware and goes insane in the ending actually kind of horrifying. Like, it wasn't simply that Monica was just nuts, but something about the station of club president puts you in the role of the game's admin and drives these otherwise normal people insane as they no longer see the world as they used to. Everyone around them is no longer real. It's great. Damn. All right. Let me not take too long with this shit. We gotta watch Peak Lagoon. 'Cause I gotta get up kind of early in the morning. I got work in the morning. But anyways, holy shit. Let me like this video. Holy shit. Goo Lagoon. Ah, yes. Another day in Goo Lagoon. But anyways, YouTube. We're gonna be watching Black Lagoon. We're gonna watch the rest of it. Probably, most likely, we're gonna watch the rest of it today. So if you want to come, I have to end YouTube stream because YouTube does not like when I watch shit on YouTube because then they want to snap my neck, and I don't want my neck snapped. I don't want my neck snapped. So yeah. But you can join. You can press the link in the chat. It'll put you into Twitch chat because we're still gonna be streaming some Peak Lagoon. So if you want to join, click on the link in the chat, in the YouTube chat, and you'll be able to join stream. But anyways, if not, I hope you have a good rest of your morning, YouTube, and I will see you all next stream. Bye, YouTube.